to start up this morning. We had to start up late and all this kind of stuff, and I couldn't tell you. I couldn't be happier to be here. Now, I'm sorry about the fan noise. It might be intermittent throughout, but it is really hot in this room, so I'm trying to cool it off. I think the new computer is the hotness. That might be. Excuse me, 1 second. Yeah, Geek Squad. How can I help you? If I may. Yes. Check 1. Check 2. No one. All right. No, we'll get back to you. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. No, it is hot. It is very hot. Yeah, it's got little LED lights inside of it. It's very cool looking, but yes, my nuts are baking. Yeah. That's not a technical term for it, but sure. Okay, bye. This is, let's see. Why is this guy not doing still? Where to go? Oh, I see, because the thing's not on enough. Let's see. We have a lot to go on tonight. Let me put this out of the way and get a little bit of, and I did indeed, someone was saying Hal spared us by skipping Mike Pillow. That is true. I did, he's there, all right. There he is. There's Mike Pillow. Now, I had a real difficult time sort of organizing this show, because there's a little thing you have to check off in YouTube that says, does this or does this not contain paid promotion? Well, obviously it does. It just doesn't go to me. I don't get paid for the promotion. This asshole is double dipping. Look at this. RSBN and Newsmax are covering this. Both are running almost entirely on My Pillow ads. Everybody there looks like they're jonesing for a good night's sleep. And I even enjoyed some of the earlier musical accompaniment that came along. It was basically gospel songs mixed with big wheels keep on turning. No surprise they played Sweet Home Alabama. In Alabama, which is actually a road song about being from Alabama, but not actually being there. But I'm sure people in Kentucky occasionally sing Kentucky Woman. It's a thing. It's like singing the old bluegrass tune, Callin' Baton Rouge, when you're not actually anywhere near Louisiana, because that's when it's appropriate, But let's see. Is there any of these things working? What's happening? All right, we'll move in. Oh, I see. I've got this on. I'll drag this over here. There we go. Make sure this stuff is up and running.
What?
Everything is for My Pillow. Don't forget, Hal. Use the promo code. Hal is probably the devil. Yeah, this is the thing. All right, we'll try and do this. Can I hear myself? All right. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, my Lord. That's proper. Okay, continue. Okay. Geez, there was something weird about that. I think, obviously, something's wonky audio-wise. I'm just saying, just for the record. Okay, sorry about that. I've been playing around with things behind the scenes, but I also wanted to make sure that these buttons are working. Yeah, look at that. It's all working again. And then, let's see, what other cueable stuff we're going to need during tonight's lecture. Probably this one. Probably going to need this. And apparently this is a Christian rally. This has nothing to do. Oh, look at that. We're getting a hype train. Looking for some hype train, baby, this evening. I need to work on that or whatever. I even programmed in a Ben Shapiro voice. This is my Ben Shapiro voice. I think it's great. I think it sounds just like him. It's wonderful. Okay, there. All right, there we go. So enough of that nonsense. Wow, that was crazy. Okay, here we go. So shall we check out? What time is it? We're close. Oh my gosh, we may be late. Is Trump already out there? Is he coming? And I'm proud to do Biggie Shiggy Boo.
For Donald Trump, not only in 2016, but also in 2020. Yeah, let's give it around.
Yeah, let's give it around. And by give it around, I mean pass COVID to everybody.
And this part of Alabama, and quite honestly, all of Alabama, is Trump country for all the right reasons.
Because there are no apparent structures which to have rallies in?
Because we believe in America. We believe in America, that it is the greatest nation on the face of the earth, and we don't make...
It would absolutely go to shit if it wasn't run by a second-generation rich kid with fourth-stage syphilis. It's the only thing that can save our country, okay?
Any apologies about it. This nation has always been a light on the hill. It has always been a beacon of hope for the
Apparently it was a piece of shit till Trump showed up, though.
rest of the world. And we have got to keep it that way. We've got to make sure that we have a strong America, a country that can defend itself.
Like a great infrastructure. Fuck, who put that in my notes?
And not be afraid to show its strength around the world. We believe in America that has a hard-working spirit, and it has personal freedom. We believe in protection of unborn babies.
But the living ones will cough COVID right down their fucking throats. We believe in parking our pickup trucks outside of state buildings that may or may not have children in a kindergarten inside. All hail Timothy McVeigh. All right, everybody, come on, give us some love. Don't forget, Timothy McVeigh, come on. Let's give him a little bit of, there's got to be something. Timothy, isn't he a hero? Come on to everybody here. Come on, give it up for the man. Honestly. All right.
We believe they are human beings that deserve the right to life,
Unlike Afghans.
liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, just like everybody else.
Except immigrants. If they try to come up here and pursue happiness, build that wall. Build that wall.
We believe in the Second Amendment. And
In case these immigrants try to come up here and take our jobs that we don't want.
right to own guns. And we will always stand for that right.
Yeah, the pro-life right to be your own. We don't believe in government tyranny. We want one man, one tyranny. If you decide you own the block, fuck them. Open fire. This is the big, come on. I'm not gonna make it through this whole show, am I?
And you know what? We've
What?
also got to protect our borders.
Yes. From immigrant women that might be pregnant. So that's why we need guns.
Believe in the right to worship God and get to go to church without the interference of the United States government or any other government.
Yeah, especially Canadians. Jesus Christ. Am I right? I mean,
Donald Trump defended these beliefs. He fought for them. He worked for them. And we supported him in that fight. Now, sadly, our great nation is going to drift with rudderless people like Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer.
it's rudderless, but these rudders are driving us into a ditch. America is being destroyed by these people who are doing too much by not doing anything. So dumb.
This Democrat trio doesn't want to make America great again.
No, it don't.
They want to
Boo!
make America like Venezuela or like Cuba.
Venezuela. She was my old maid, apparently. She worked with us for a little while, or whatever, at the governor's mansion. Venezuela, could you come in here a second? Yeah, I had a diaper accident again. Yeah, I was watching a marathon of Trump rallies, and I just didn't want to get up.
They want to
Venezuela. Christ.
control our children, what they learn in school.
Yeah, we do not want teachers teaching our kids.
I want to tell you how to spend your money. And
No, we don't give a shit how you spend your money. As a matter of fact, actually, that's not true. I take it back. You're right. I want you to spend your money on Donald J. Trump. Go to donaldjtrump.com and dump every dime you have into his coffers right now. Why are you even standing there? Drop the mic, run out, get out your debit card. Why aren't there ATMs for Trump?
to spend your tax dollars, your children's tax dollars, and your grandchildren's tax dollars.
Saving the economy and trying to stop Americans from dying. What a waste.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid that...
Yes, you're just generally afraid. I'm skipping ahead because we I don't know when this asshole's done, so
district for many years now in Washington, that this was the district that...
Awaiting. It's a little rough when you're giving a speech in front of a bunch of people in Coleman, Alabama. It's bad enough But when it says awaiting President Trump in Coleman, that doesn't put a lot of... there's no now speaking. I guess they know their audience. What the fuck is this? That is not Trump. He's not wearing... Look, you better bring somebody out with a pile of fiberglass on their head or I'm pissing off right now. I'm not even... Come on now, son.
The highest percentage of vote than any other district in the entire nation. And he's very grateful.
Yeah, it didn't keep him... I mean, obviously, didn't keep him in office, but he loves you guys. Come on.
America will be back. America will be strong. And America will be great again.
Yeah, it's doing pretty well right now overall, I think.
God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.
I'm leaving. What do you think? We're about to cue. Did they give him the... He's here. He wants to come out and point at everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Attorney General of the state of Alabama, Steve Marshall.
Wait, why am I not... Now why am I not hearing stuff? I'm gonna hear that. The Attorney General for the state's coming out? What the hell is this?
Hello, Coleman, Alabama. You know, when the heavens sent down rain, you didn't leave. Because you wanted to be able to hear from Donald Trump tonight.
Yes.
I want to thank you for being here because it's a special group.
But I'm not going to.
That would stay through rain, that would deal with all the obstacles to be here.
It's almost as if you had nowhere else to go.
At a special...
Hello, Denver City by the Bay. I want to get back to my city by the bay. Come in Alabama.
I want to share a few things with you.
Okay. I hope it's not COVID.
Don't know whether
I'm going to share something with y'all tonight. The Delta variant. Am I right?
you realize it, but today is day 214 of the presidency of Joe Biden.
All right. What are you, Brian Williams now? Boo.
So wait. Here's where I want you to think about.
Okay.
It's not 214, but instead it's 1,248 days until this administration leaves office.
Yeah, that'll make them feel a lot better. 1,000 some odd days of Joe Biden. Have fun. Hooray! Jesus Christ, 1,000 days?
And let me guarantee...
How do you get elected to 12 years in office? That don't seem right. 1,000 days. Lord Almighty. Did somebody make him dictator? How long is that? In the Old Testament, that'd be what's called a yom.
This will be a one-term president.
Speaking of one-term presidents, ladies and gentlemen, Donald J. Trump. Don't say one-term president. It makes his dick shrivel. It's already bad enough.
Now, you've seen it. You've seen it over the last 200 days, what this administration has done to this country.
Brought back manufacturing, lowered unemployment, vaccinated almost 70% of the country, at least with one dose. Over 51% are double dosed right now, which was, lagging until the Delta variant started killing these assholes. Blue states have started to taper in their Delta variant cases. Red states are spiking. I mean, I understand Coleman, Alabama had to, their ICUs are packed, but whatever. Anyways, what else have they done? We're getting out of Afghanistan.
And honestly, I don't have words to describe it.
Well, look, it's not our fault. You have a bad vocabulary.
This last 200 days, we've seen this administration repeal the Remain in Mexico program, which President Trump used to slow illegal immigration in our country.
Especially women and children. Anyways, bring the pro-life guy back up here.
He's weaponized the Department of Justice to go after Georgia, who put together common sense election integrity reforms.
It's just common sense to stop black people from voting. Look at the trouble they got us in. Come on, everybody, right? Am
For
I
the first
right?
time in 40 years.
It's nice to see such an enormous, diverse crowd, a variety of human beings. It's
To allow for your hard-earned dollars to be used to pay for abortions through Medicaid. And we got a Department of Education that's promoting bizarre gender identity policies and recommending genderless locker rooms. All the
I don't know
while,
if they're recommending it. I think they're just dealing with locker rooms when you have trans kids who are transitioning. But I don't think they're actually going, you got no trans kids in your school? Well, we think you should just have like co-ed dressing rooms. We have a real issue with low birth rates in the United States, so we'd like to fix that. Ever since we started cleaning up this whole teen pregnancy thing, we don't have any workers.
putting together a radical
It's a Japanese problem. It's the same issue they're having.
curriculum that will be used in our schools. And y'all, as the world has watched, we've seen
Y'all.
Biden bungle Afghanistan, creating for us a national security risk and what is for others the worst foreign policy debacle of our time.
Just for others?
And as the DA and as a former prosecutor, what I also see is that this president has presided over the
It's criminality. It's just terrible, y'all.
greatest increase in violent crime, particularly murder, in the history of our country. We've seen it. We've seen it in
Save America.
Seattle
There's
with the
the dude
highest
who keeps turning his hat around. He's been there all day. He's right over there in the far side of that. See that guy?
rates in their
He
history.
keeps going, yeah, and turning his hat around. Now, that might be that they're playing footage from earlier. And
We see it in
Because they're bored.
Chicago, in New York, with violent crime they haven't seen for decades. We see it in Alabama, in Birmingham, and Montgomery, with violent crime rates that are beyond the norm. And ladies
what is the norm?
and
I
gentlemen,
think
most
the average is what you're looking for.
importantly to me, is that we've lost 200 officers, our heroes that protect us every day in the line of duty this year, including 3 in Alabama. And would you join me in thanking the Lord?
In 3 in Alabama, how'd they go? Who got them? I'm speeding ahead, by the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Alabama, Will Ainsworth.
I don't know if I can do that. I'm gonna keep this rolling in the background just with the audio until we see somebody show up of merit. Well, how you doing, everybody? Welcome to the show. How are you? We're gonna be live streaming the Trump super spreader event in Coleman, Alabama, a city I've spent some time in. Shot a movie there with my dear departed friend Robert Hall, who we love and miss very much. Pour one out for him. And they are in a pasture doing this rally at the Polk Family Farms in Coleman, Alabama, because they could not fill a venue in Birmingham, and all the major cities have mask rules and all that kind of stuff. So to avoid that, they're just outside in a big field. And it's people all over the place. Now, there's some diversity in this crowd, and it's all behind Trump. It's very strange that you'll see that nearly every person that isn't white is in this area, plus a bunch of kids. Little kid from the Wildcats coming up there. Is that his sons, or is he just coming up there? I don't know. We'll find out in a little bit. I don't know. But just got a headphones there. Put that up there. And then this one over here. And then hopefully I'll be able to hear everything and it will work fine during this little time while I'll try to figure everything out. It's very strange. Yes, he said, woo, Trump, something Trump. By the way, how's it going, chat room? Let me bring this up. I have to open my main restream chat room. Calflopalooza 2021, fantastic. Thank you. They belong in a pasture anyhow. I don't know. Let's see. It's about time we put Trump out to pasture. So I think that's it. The only people watching the Communists of America rest are watching the Trump rally. The what? I didn't realize that Communists of America watch RSBN. I didn't realize. That's funny. Hal, are you in the middle of transition? You have about 30. Yeah. Oh, I see. See, having long hair means you're gay or trans or some pejorative that they think is negative. Meanwhile, sorry, what kind of flat top did Jesus have? Remind me. Remind me the last time you were at church and you looked up at the crucifix. What kind of hair did Jesus have? Did you raise your hand in the middle of the sermon and go, what's with the big gay Jesus? Why has he got long hair? Is he some sort of hippie or something? And by the way, thank you, trolls, for joining us. Anytime I put Trump in the header of this, it brings the Trumps in because they have to defend their second generation rich boy messiah. He is a billionaire. He is a billionaire, right? That kind of thing. Jesus went to Supercuts, right? So yeah, but we appreciate the trolls showing up here because without them, we wouldn't spread as wide as we do. We wouldn't actually get as much coverage as we do because the algorithm only, if you end up just kind of in a circular part of YouTube or Twitch, then you don't really break out of that. And it's only through trolls that you actually reach parts of the algorithm, areas where it would recommend stuff that you wouldn't get otherwise. So thanks very much. You're the reason once we cracked 20,000 subscribers on YouTube, we're almost at 22 in about a week. So yeah, pretty sweet. It's not an echo. It's very reverby in here. I think it's just because the room is big and I've got a fan going because it's hot. You can get trolls on Amazon. It's true. Yeah. So anyways, with long hair, beautiful hair, shining, gleaming, streaming, flaxen. Yes. I think Hal's drunker than all of us and good on him. I don't drink, actually. I've never had a drink in my life. Never had an alcoholic drink ever. And don't forget tonight and tonight only. Let's see. Let me move this over here. Everybody must bring along 5 eggs.
5 eggs.
So don't forget.
5 eggs.
Very important.
5 eggs in a month.
That's all you get. That's all you get. So. Thanks. I'm glad. It's the audio. I'm working out the kinks on this, but the video is way better. We no longer have jagged video, and I am now, making it work a lot smoother. The quality of the video is way higher. I mean, honestly. 5 eggs sounds feminine. All right. Stop posting eggs. Trumpists get horny. Thanks, Steven. I loved me in Spider-Man 2 as well. It's a good time. I'm sorry the 5 eggs is really loud. I brought the volume down on it. I apologize. Did it scare you?
5 eggs.
That was
5 eggs.
Yeah, that is pretty loud. Let me just try to drop that down in the middle.
5 eggs.
That's better. Okay. 5 eggs. Yes, we had it. I want you to know. Jagged little eggs. Anyways. Thanks. Yeah, the hair's actually on fleek right now. Flick. It's on flicker. It's not flickering anymore. Oh, are we coming to him? No. Are they there yet? Let me hear.
Defend our rights.
How many times can you say the same shit over again? Nobody look. My favorite part currently of the oh my God, they're going to take away our Second Amendment. Is there like the old quote? If you make it criminal to have a gun, only criminals will have guns, which has always been an adorable flip flop phrase. But they're like, how about this? How about we just stop the criminals from having them? We'll like stop straw purchases and make sure that people that that aren't registered to sell guns can't sell them anymore. And they're like, whoa. If you stop the criminals from having guns, how's the NRA going to scare the shit out of everybody into buying more guns? This is just lame. So we don't give a shit if you have a gun. We've elected the guy who said buy a shotgun. This is silly. I am a Second Amendment absolutist. I believe in the purity and the God-given right of the Second Amendment. The Lord... He desperately, the Lord gave us this right of the Second Amendment. He sent his son to say, turn the other cheek and all that. But the Second Amendment, I believe it was guided by the hand of the Lord. And in guiding obviously he was drunk during that whole well-regulated militia part. Okay. So, like, I don't know, well-regulated. That's kind of rude. Is this Mo Brooks talking now? President Trump holds Save America rally. That's not him, by the way. And it's not the Save America rally, by the way. On the website, it's called 45 Fest. Interestingly enough, in terms of the Second Amendment right being sacrosanct, and you have every right to, to your right to bear arms will not be infringed. The Democrats are not going to stop you from your right to bear arms. You're not allowed to have guns at this rally. No one, even though it's outside in Cullman, Alabama, you are not allowed to bring a gun. It also rained earlier, and you're not allowed to bring an umbrella or, for whatever reason, according to the website, balls. You cannot bring balls of any sort. So Trump is way ahead of them on that. What's the drinking word of the night? Probably disgraceful. What is he going to say 100 times? Oh, is this, you can tell by the ears, it's Tuberville? Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Listen here, friends. Now, many people have said, can a man be the slave to the demon wine like I was and still find Jesus? Well, I'm here to tell you that when I was under the Tulsa jail after a strange incident where I was found half-trousered in the bushes outside an elementary school, I found Jesus. Well, his name, it wasn't pronounced. It was pronounced Jesus, actually. He was a nice fella, but he gave me a copy of the Bible and was kind enough to read it to me. And let me tell you, friends, that was the turning point. And I like many of our Christian friends down here in Alabama, like to take their copy of the Bible, take a red pen, and underline the good parts of it. That's what this part means a lot to me. I think I'll underline it. Well, not me. I take a Sharpie to it and I redact parts of that thing that turn the other cheek stuff. All that stuff that was put in by the commie socialist, left-wing, critical race theory Democrats somewhere around the year 70 AD. I go in there and I just strike that out. Yes, I am live, Pace. This is live tonight. Friends, let me tell you a story if I can. I was once in a motel with a pile of cocaine and a dream. And somehow, some way, I was saved from the demon crystals in there. I don't know why. Let's see, can we turn? Hold on.
Now, many people believe that being taken over by Satan is an easy thing, ladies and gentlemen. It's not. Let me tell you what I told you this before. Give me a round of applause. Thank you. Anyways, I was saying before, whatever. Anybody got any bourbon?
Okay. Get on with it. Trump was supposed to be on a half an hour ago. We don't have time for this. Bambi Gatos, really? Bamboo gave money. These are all by the way, at the bottom of the screen, you'll see a bunch of people who are giving to Right Side Broadcasting Network. And no, I'm not trying to shame you guys in the super chats, but would you take a look at the super chats that are happening on this thing? 50, 20, 20, 20, 50, 50, 100, 50, 50, 50, 50.50, 50, 49, 90, $200, $99, $100, $100. Look at this. Dominion Light aided election theft. $100. An Nguyen gave $99.99. He was trying to get, he didn't want to pay sales tax. Trump 2024. It cost him $50 to say that. Cost Bill $50. America loves our great President Trump and historical RSBN first to pan the crowd. Welcome all new members. Our fight is never done. Thank you, Trump. Baron Trump 2040. Baron Trump 2040. Why would you drag that poor son of a bitch into the kid? Oh my God. Poor kid. All right, here we go. No jab, no Joe, no mask, no Mo. Tor Godwin's Salty Army. And Janice has said, you are amazing. That's very lovely. Matthew Feast is doing some sort of kneeling thing. Kimberly Kim and Christian Burnett $100. Rick Moore, love Trump. I love Trump. I love Trump. We went to Mars. We can secure our vote. He's been to Mars. All right. What was it like? Was it hot? So I'm just saying, no pressure. Uh-oh. We're playing a video. Our political leaders are AWOL. Our nation is in crisis. This is all from last year. Now, more than ever, we need leaders who will defend truth, who will defend justice, who will keep us in Afghanistan, who will wear body armor while we... Yeah, that's Mo Brooks, by the way. Who will wear body armor to an event they know is dangerous. Protect life, unless you mean COVID. Protect 2A, unless you're come to this rally. Uphold law and order, unless you're going to prosecute Trump for, tax fraud. Proven conservative leader. Ugh. Fearless fighter. I don't know. If he was a fearless fighter, why was he wearing a vest? Right? He wore a vest. Okay, this is Mo Brooks. This is really a rally to elect Mo Brooks as the senator. They're trying to get this.
Right behind us. And I want you to help me give President Trump a rather unique Alabama welcome.
Oh, boy. He's too old to grab his ankles. Are they going to play dueling banjos? He might leave. Everybody on the count of 3, tell him to squeal like a pig. Give him a big Ned Beatty deliverance welcome.
Roll Tide!
Welcome down here to this. Welcome, come on down to the field. The ticks are fine.
War Eagle! Roll Tide! War Eagle!
Oh my God, these are the sports teams. Yeah, they're gonna throw pig shit at him. Come on in. The pig shit's fine.
I'm Congressman Mo Brooks, and it's an honor to represent you in the United States Congress. And let me emphasize something.
I can't get elected outside my district. 818 just in the chat. That's amazing. Welcome and good evening, and thank you for spending your Saturday with me as we live stream the Trump speech in Cullman, Alabama. This is he's in a field at the Polk Family Farms because all the venues in the big cities, I guess they had rules about masks and whatnot. So, no, I didn't want to pause that. I just want to let's see what he's saying.
Louder, let President Trump know. Are you proud to be an American too?
Yes, I am. I'm proud to be an American. I'm a proud American. I love America. It's my country. I love it. Yes. I mean, I think Trump's an asshole and he was a waste of time and a terrible president. But I am still, even in spite of his presidency, I'm proud of it. As a matter of fact, that it's a sign of a functioning democracy that you can occasionally elect a complete moron and still make it.
Well, let me talk about America for a moment.
America is going to be footing the bill for every COVID case that's in this crowd tonight.
In world history, by any measure. We have the strongest economy and gross domestic product in world history. We have the greatest military capability in world history.
We don't anymore? What are you saying about the military? You say the military just gave up the fight? Did the gear only work when Trump was president? Is he some sort of magic gem?
We are great because the
king and the land are one. The king...
years, their fortunes, and yes, sometimes their lives for freedom, for liberty, for constitutional principles that have combined to make us the greatest nation in world history. And let me underscore those who have sacrificed their lives. Over 1 million Americans have sacrificed their lives beginning in the Revolutionary War to the current day, defending us and our liberty and freedoms, but also defending the underprivileged nations around the globe. I'm proud to be an American.
As am I. What's your point?
Let's talk for a moment about those principles that have made us the greatest nation in world history.
Okay.
Bill of Rights that protect our liberty. Our founding fathers saw that was essential.
Bill of Rights, yeah.
In our United States Constitution. And that Bill of Rights is based on a relatively simple principle that while a government can be our best friend, it can also be our worst enemy. And so we have to have the kind of protections to...
Yeah, it doesn't vacillate between those two things, though. You do realize in a functioning society, it doesn't like flip like a switch from being your enemy to your best friend. I think we've actually found Mo Brooks's and Trump's followers' problem, is that this seems to be the way they sort of interpret life. Trump's my best friend in the whole wide world, and without him, America sucks. And then when he's in, it's like, America's finally wonderful. Like that. No gray area. It makes my nose bleed.
In world history. Perhaps most important, because there have been a lot of great nations in world history, we have a defining difference. We are guided by moral values that are our compass, religious values. Well,
there's a lot of countries in the world that view themselves guided by religious and moral values. You kind of have to live up to them, though.
That yes, America is the greatest nation in world history, but I have never felt such fear for the future of my country. Never.
Never.
America is under attack. It is at risk because socialist Democrats...
Oh, my God. They're going to try and give unemployment insurance, which will have to be, reimbursed as the choice by, the democratic choice of the people.
Freedom of speech, big tech censorship, woke, economic and physical threats against us if we have the...
Woke physical threats?
It used to be that we had some common ground with the other party. And that common ground was, you can say whatever you want to say, I can say whatever I want to say.
And then I can just filibuster anything you want to do.
They are afraid of that because they are wrong, they know it, and they can't defend themselves in what they're doing to us. They're also...
Well, I mean, the auto industry posted some of its best numbers in years last month.
Socialists tolerate our religious values so long as we leave them behind the doors once we leave the church.
Well, no, they stop at the end of your nose. I mean, you got to live your values. You can't just project them onto other people.
Well, discarding our moral values once the church doors close behind us, that is not freedom of religion. You have the right to have your religious values with you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Right, but you can't politically impose them on other people. That's what that's what Jefferson was talking about. Federalist Papers and all that. Remember that thing you pretend to give a shit about?
Destroy the Second Amendment right to bear arms. Now, let's be clear.
Nothing is more pro-life than shooting someone.
This was because our founding fathers had just fought a revolutionary war.
Against a king.
And they were concerned, they were fearful that has happened in so many other places around the globe throughout history, that dictatorial powers may usurp the rights that we're guaranteed by the United States Constitution, may undermine our republic, may destroy our election processes.
Or that because we're a fledgling country, other giant dictatorships would try to take us over instead of, just because King George failed did not mean that the King of France or the King of Spain wouldn't try it. Obviously, great territory would have wanted to take it. So everybody is automatically part of the militia, a well-regulated militia, which seems to be the part they blow off all the time.
An economic model that has never succeeded in world history. Never. Why they want to impoverish us as a country, why they want us to put us through a national bankruptcy is beyond me.
Why would they put us through a national bankruptcy?
Now, perhaps...
You do realize Trump signed those bills last year.
Is that we are a republic, and socialist Democrats are seeking to
turn this into a democracy?
Inaccurate elections. Y'all have felt it. You have seen it.
We're a republic. That means the electoral college votes are more important than the individuals.
Why don't you tell the truth about what happened in 2020?
We have been. Are you? I mean, I don't know if Mike Lindell's already left. He might not be able to hear you. Perhaps you should call him.
Too much to ask you to do your homework before you speak. And since they won't do their homework, let me ask you to do some homework for them.
Okay, fill us in.
Please. Just start. The evidence is overwhelming, but start here. Start by reading the bipartisan 2005 Commission on Federal Election Reform report.
Before the changes to the electronic voting machines were made.
Democrat Jimmy Carter and Republican White House Chief of Staff James Baker. A bipartisan report, 2005. No elections at stake, so there wasn't the kind of partisanship you normally see in these kinds of battles. Read that. They analyzed our American election.
Read the addressing of the possible collapse of buildings before we had building codes as well.
Our republic at risk. 16 years ago, they found that.
Yeah, and 16 years ago. Remember the phone you had 16 years ago?
Have too many non-citizens voting in American elections. You would think that we would only want Americans voting in American elections, and only Americans would guide our destiny as a country.
We do.
And the Commission on Federal Election Reform said we've got too many non-citizens who are registered to vote and are actually voting in our elections, so do something about that.
They did 16 years ago, and they fixed it.
Anywhere from 900,000 to 1.7 million non-citizens voted in the 2020 elections. That is wrong. That's how you have elections.
It is wrong. It's not actually true.
But what else did the Commission on Federal Election Reform hold? They said, look.
Well, they certainly didn't say 1.7 million people voted in last year's election 16 years ago.
For example, my wife's name is Martha.
That's not anyone's fault.
Say, I'm Martha Brooks. And if that's a Democrat, they might be confused about whether I'm a man or a woman. And the poll worker would be obligated to give me Martha Brooks's ballot, and I can vote. The Commission on Federal Election Reform said that's wrong. There's too much voter fraud in that. We need photo identification.
So provide everyone with a photo ID. A federal photo ID provided free of charge to citizens and citizens only. I'm for it. But folks like this won't allow for it because it's the mark of the beast.
And risky, systemic flaw in our election system. We cannot, and we have to minimize, we cannot have so many mailed out ballots.
Why not? Yeah, Colorado, you suck.
What did the Democrats do with that report? Well, they used it as a game plan, as a playbook in 2020 to engage in massive voter fraud and election theft never before seen in the United States of America.
And it was never before seen before that or during it.
I'm going to end with this one comment about the Commission on Federal Election Reform. They also had
my election was completely legitimate, by the way. Trump won Alabama and I won my race because that was legit. Everywhere else was fake.
Losers will be declared winners. Well, duh. That's right. Say that again. So, our challenge is to fix the problem.
So you're resigning?
Clear. Godless, evil, amoral, socialists, Democrats are on the march.
Well, I mean, I say they may be godless, amoral, and devil-worshipping, baby-eating, whatever else pejoratives he had, but they are organized. They sure can walk in a line.
Very simple. There are some
in deference to the audience.
The voter fraud and election theft in 2020. Folks, put that behind you. Put that behind you.
Yeah, forget about it. Shut up.
Look forward. Look forward. Look forward. Beat them in 2022. Beat them in 2024.
Look at that. Boo. He's being booed.
All right. Well, look back at it, but go forward and take advantage of it.
Yeah. Well spoken.
We've got
Way
to
know
win
you're
in 2022.
Proud. Hey, dummy. They're never going to look back. They're going to never stop going to look back, looking back. They're always going to grind on this, and they're not going to vote in 2022 because they think it's bullshit. It's a waste of their time. It's already rigged. This is Mo Brooks.
In 2022, are you going to help President Trump?
Yeah, he's running for Congress.
Help MAGA candidates in 2022 and 2024 take back our country. That's what we have to do.
Yeah, he got a little bit of, because they don't trust the election. You blew it.
Win in 2022. Will you help President Trump and MAGA candidates win in 2024?
You've already asked him that, and they're on the fence, really.
But let me be clear, we're fighting a two-front war.
Of course you are. You're fighting the Democrats, who are, vicious, baby-eating, Satan-worshiping something or others. And then, of course, rhinos, which are vicious, baby, I don't know, chewing. They just gnaw on them. They don't eat them.
We've got a two-front war. Remember how our ancestors have sacrificed.
Uh-huh.
It is our turn to sacrifice.
Is it? Are you going to ration gas?
Are you willing to sacrifice so that we win these elections and we take back the House of Representatives?
Please go to DonaldJTrump.com and sign up to have your bank account emptied.
Get rid of Chuck Schumer as the majority leader of the United States Senate? Are you willing to sacrifice so that in 2024 we put President Trump back in the White House? That's what we've got to do.
That's what we got to do. What kind of sacrifice are we talking about? Because it sounds like you're talking about truck bombs.
Half of our country. Will you join President Trump and our MAGA candidates?
Yeah, a little on the fence, Mo.
Trump, 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 Trump. Now,
It's working. It's really, you just keep the chat. This is working really well. Say Trump, Trump, Trump a bunch of times. They're having an awesome time.
6. Let me talk about our ancestors.
Okay.
1776, we were at a time of great peril.
You remember it. He was there personally.
Paine said, and I quote, "These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of their country, but he that stands by it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered. Yet we have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. Such was the mettle of our founding fathers." Yes.
Such was the metal.
It does try our souls because we had an election fraud and theft problem in 2022. And yes, we have to overcome that. And we have to triumph going forward. So,
and they don't sound convinced.
I have a request of you.
You're kind of losing them, Mo.
The request of you is this. Let's do it. The Arizona recount is coming. The Arizona audit is on the way.
Yeah, it totally is. Any day now.
Fix it now. Fix it now. Fix it now. Now. I want to make sure that Donald Trump knows again that we not only love our football in America, we also love America and that we're patriots. And I want you to make sure that he can hear us and the sounds will reverberate. And the way to do that,
by saying USA,
as you were doing earlier, how much we believe in the United States of America, and we can do that by chanting USA. So are you with me? USA, USA, USA.
Oh, man. Are you ready to rock? I can't hear you. Seriously, I'm fucking deaf in one ear. I leaned close to a flame pot a couple years ago.
Here, God bless President Trump, God bless Alabama, and God bless America.
Bye. That was a fucking tooth pull, Mo. Yeah, that'll do it. That's his district too. If anybody has proved tonight that they can win statewide office, it's the dude who got almost booed off his own stage with Trump by saying, "Don't look back at 2020." It's not, I mean, treasonous. It's too dull to be treasonous. Oh, a little sparse on that side of the crowd. Oh, Patton. That's fun. George C. Scott, really? Is a big supporter? What in the world? Are they projecting Trump's face onto George C. Scott? Or are they just playing the monologue from Patton? Yeah, they are. They're just going to play the monologue. There's one thing about it's one thing to have stolen valor, where President Bone Spurs is going to go up and pretend he's this military god, and then to play a scene from a movie where a character was giving that speech, because he just doesn't like the original speech, from Patton that he has. It just doesn't look good enough. You want a giant flag and a dude standing in front of it. It just looks so much better. 990 people in there. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to give a thumbs up and a like, and especially if you're a troll and you're upset because Trump sucks and you've been living with the fact that he lost terribly. He was beaten by a guy he said had it can't put a sentence together. That's got to be tough. I understand. So I thank you for spending your time with us, and especially those of you that get all wound up and feel like typing something. That always actually helps us in the algorithm more than just watching. If you just sit back and yell at your computer, it doesn't really do anything. But if you get in there and you go, there, you're an asshole, and you write something out like that, it actually helps expand our reach entirely. So that's awesome. Yeah. So thanks very much. Without you, we wouldn't have the reach that we do. So don't forget to give us a thumbs down if you support presidents that will sexually assault a woman without asking her permission. And I don't know if you can technically sexually assault someone if you have asked their permission. If you ask their permission, they say no when you do it. He's done that too. Okay, so I think he's got it across the board. So if you support President Bone Spurs playing clips from the movie Patton. Yeah, it's a good time. And none of these folks were allowed. It rained horribly earlier, and none of these folks were allowed to bring an umbrella because those are weapons of rain destruction. And Cullman, Alabama, has just had they have no ICU beds in the area, so they have a state of emergency in Cullman, Alabama right now because of COVID. And there is no way this is a even minority vaxxed crowd. I did say I really, like, earlier we checked when they were showing people coming in, and there was a couple of folks that actually were wearing masks. So yeah. And again, why? What are we supposed to be taking away from this?
The treads of our tanks. We're going to murder those lousy Hun bastards by the bushel.
Now, by lousy Hun bastards, obviously in this context, because those were foreign soldiers, you have to kind of, in your own brain, translate that to your neighbors, your fellow Americans. People who simply voted a different way, like you would in a powerful democracy. Anyone who didn't vote the way you wanted, they're basically the enemy now. You're taking sort of a Taliban kind of an approach.
Into a bunch of goo that a moment before was your best friend's face.
How does this apply? Well, I mean, maybe while they're on a ventilator, you mean? Is that where they think this applies? Goo.
I don't want to get any messages saying that we are holding our position. We're not holding anything.
That's true. You aren't holding anything. You lost the House, the Senate, and the presidency. I have nothing against Patton or even this address. It's just hilarious that, however, thanks. Look, 1,000 folks in here. This is the only place you're going to find this. If you want to, it's a good Christian message where you bring up how your friend's face has just turned into goo.
There's one thing that you men will be able to say when you get back home.
You didn't pretend to have bone spurs so you could get out of service. No? Sorry, who?
On your knee, and he asked you, what did you do in the Great World War II? You won't have to say, well, I shoveled shit in Louisiana.
It's Alabama, sir.
All right, now you sons of bitches, you know how I feel.
By the way, he just called our service people sons of bitches. I'm just saying. Normally, this is something that would upset the maggot crowd.
Time. Anywhere. That's all.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed that they didn't play, the scene from what was it? The Dead Zone. They play Martin Sheen's speech from the Dead Zone. The missiles are away. Hallelujah. Put your hand on that goddamn screen or I'll chop it off. Like, you know what I mean? Why not just go totally there? Are they playing? The men who die. Oh, really? Oh, it's going to come out right away. and he's going to forget that there's a whole other verse, and then he's going to have to wander. And here he comes. It's so exciting. Oh my God. He's got hats. He's going to be chucking hats.
Look, I've got hats. Anyone need no umbrellas, but does anybody want to? Here you go. Look at that.
He's this close to having a T-shirt cannon. I'm just saying, the tickets for this were worth every penny. Oh, thanks. Unfortunately. Where's Don Jr.? And normally Eric opens for him, but not today. And he doesn't trust him or whatever.
And thank you. Hello.
Don't forget. There he goes. He's got, well, there's another hat for you there. Give me a couple more hats. That's the look at that. Flung that one. I still got it. One more hat. Do I have one more hat? I got 2 hats. And who wants it? Who wants some? Who wants a little? Who? He's going to keep one hat in case it rains. Is he going to throw it out there? I might need one hat. Is the song still playing? Yeah, he's still gone through he hasn't even got to the second verse, and he's already doing the hand job gesture. Oh, there's a couple more hats. There you go. And then he's going to keep the last one in case he needs it. This is the big one. I'm keeping it. No, he's going to throw it. Yeah, he's going to set it there in case the rain comes. He didn't trust the rain. Okay, he does that a lot. I don't know why anybody doesn't just fucking put a hat out there for him in case he needs it. Yeah, it's not fair use, Martine. That's the weird part. Plays this shit at his rallies every goddamn time. And if you play the opening of it, or even YMCA at the end, you get hit with a copyright strike. It's part of their way of like keeping all the money.
Crowd, I'll tell you.
Oh, there's such a good crowd.
This goes all the way back. I wish they'd show it because they just don't do that. You know, they don't like to. This goes all the way back. I just looked at it on television, but it's our television. We show it, but they don't show it. You know why? Because they're fake news, right?
What are you talking about? RSBN and Newsmax are the only people covering this besides me.
Wonderful, wonderful state that we won by a record number. We won this state. We also won a lot of other states by numbers that they don't tell you about. We did have a rigged election. It was terrible.
Well, yeah, that's how you won Texas and Florida and all those other states, right? That's in general. Sorry, 1 second. I have to do this every time I say that.
What?
You won Ohio because of a rigged election. So, and Florida, obviously they won't tell you the real numbers.
We're going to elect our friend Mo Brooks to the U.S. Senate. We're going to fire Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Joe Biden, and the radical left. And we're going to make America great again. We have been making it so great. Now they're biting into that, but we're not going to let that happen. We can never let that happen. That's why,
Dog Joe is gnawing on America.
Someday they're going to tell me how to do things. But I like the George Patton piece. Did you like that, General Patton? I thought so.
That was George C. Scott, not George
We're
Patton.
getting a little tired of the woke generals that we have, right?
Yeah, so why not play some fake ones?
Where they move our military out before they move our civilians and before they move $83 billion worth of equipment. Let's move them out. And the Taliban looks and they say, I can't believe it. This could only happen to us. I can't believe it. The military left. They go in. We have 45,000 people there, Americans, anywhere from, I guess, 15. They have no idea how many.
Neither do you, apparently.
They say it could be 10. Oh.
You were president. How many are there?
Could also be 45,000.
How many have been added since you left? None. So how many are there?
But it's a lot of people and equipment like nobody has anywhere in the world.
Well, no, like a lot of people have. A lot of people have trucks and machine guns.
$1 billion. 1 year ago this month, in my nomination acceptance speech, which you remember, a lot of you were there. I see a lot of you that were there.
Yeah, a lot of deadheaders following you around. It's the same people.
I warned the entire country of the disastrous consequences of a Biden presidency. I understood it. A lot of you understood it too. I said that Joe Biden would eliminate America's borders in the middle of a pandemic. He did. I predicted that
Really? Because we're actually turning a lot of people away.
Would unleash
more, technically.
A wave of violent crime that would turn our cities into a nightmare of killing and bloodshed.
Yeah, unlike last year.
You look at these Democrat-run cities, Chicago.
They're not on fire anymore. I will say that.
L.A.
Where are the riots?
Cities, small cities.
In Minneapolis, no riots?
Everyone run by a Democrat.
Why aren't there federal troops in any of these cities? Oh, because they don't need to be, I see.
They don't prosecute people in New York. Only Republicans they prosecute. They don't prosecute murderers and killers. They prosecute Republicans.
That's right. Republican murderers and killers, to be fair.
Misconduct. It's called prosecutorial misconduct.
Is that what it's called?
But I told you this was going to be happening. We stated it loud and clear. We said he would impose crippling shutdowns and restrictions on in-person schooling, and that these painful policies would nonetheless fail to stop the virus. He didn't
It's been summer. School just started.
stop the virus, you know? They say, oh, he gets wonderful marks. He doesn't get good marks. He's done it.
Yeah, he hasn't convinced the people in your audience to get vaccinated. Weird. Normally, they would do anything Joe Biden suggests.
Terrible job, including on vaccinations, including on everything else.
Sorry, on what?
Now the virus is back. The virus is back. I'm sure.
Notice how quiet the crowd got all of a sudden. Watch what happens when he recommends people get vaccinated, which he probably won't actually.
Hands with everybody backstage. I say, well, I don't know. Is this a good thing or bad? You'll read about it in 3 or 4 days, maybe. Hopefully not.
What, if you have COVID? Holy shit.
But I said that Biden would embolden America's enemies, and that's what he's done, and that the radical Democrat socialist agenda would set our nation on the road to economic ruin. You look at what's going on with inflation. Has anyone noticed that your gasoline is now at levels that you never thought you'd see again?
Again? Oh, you mean the same price they were in 2019?
So we had
gas is so much more expensive when people use it. That goddamn supply and demand thing.
Had $1.87 a gallon.
Yeah, when no one was going anywhere.
And we had a thriving industry, energy independent. Nobody thought would ever be energy independent. We didn't need the Middle East. We didn't need the Middle East.
Yeah, we don't either. We don't need them now. We're just making sure that our energy companies don't sell at a higher price because OPEC has tightened their belt overseas because it's the world market. And you would know that if you knew the Keystone XL pipeline was actually a Canadian shale oil pipeline and not American energy.
You have over $5.
It was so Canada could get their oil to market across our aquifers and our land.
In many cases,
and tribal land too.
And it's going, even here, it's going to be over $5 very soon. And I saw the other day, before this whole thing with Afghanistan started, because right now, nobody's talking even about energy, even about the horrible border condition that they're allowing millions of people to come into our country.
Well, no, that not millions of people. They're rejecting hundreds of thousands, but, well, I mean, we'll talk about that later.
People that we have no idea, but people aren't talking about that, talking about the disaster of Afghanistan. Not only have my predictions come 100% true, but it's even worse than any of us could have imagined.
So they weren't 100% true. Okay.
In our worst nightmare, nobody thought this kind
of... The worst nightmare? I don't know. I think I can dream up a worse nightmare situation. Like, for example, the Taliban would actually be shooting Americans and people while this is going on, which they aren't doing. Bombings, for example. There's no shock and awe. There's just a lot of helicopter and plane flights. This is no one's worst nightmare situation. And indeed, you made the deal, and the Taliban started their move across Afghanistan May 2nd, which is the day after your deal would have taken place.
Could happen. Biden has obliterated our border.
Hi. Can I help you?
This thing tonight is semi-formal. Right? So.
Okay. I'll put on a tie. All right.
Letting you know.
Okay. I'm always semi-formal. I will be wearing pants. I think that qualifies.
You get marked by like 8:30ish.
8:30. All right. I'll see what I can do.
So we leave by
All right. Okay. All right. Love you.
Giving up our energy independence caused soaring inflation. He failed totally on economic and policies. I mean, you look at what's going on.
You look at the decrease in unemployment and the decrease in child poverty and the manufacturing going up, especially in the automobile sector.
Crazy. And the senators that voted for this $1.2 trillion bill, of which they call it infrastructure, but only 11% is infrastructure.
Because you only consider roads infrastructure, not airports, not trains, not broadband.
Where the hell are these people coming from? It's the roadmap. They call it the glide path. It's the roadmap to the Green New Deal, conceived and dedicated by AOC, a real beauty. She's a real beauty. She knows more about the environment. I don't think she ever even did she ever take a course? She wasn't a good student. Did she ever take a course on the environment?
Did you? At Horton?
Remember when we first said you have 12 years to live, she said 2 years ago. That means you have, right now you're about 9.5 years. Somehow you're not worried about that, but you are worried about China and Russia and other places, okay? All right?
Thank you. That made a lot of sense. I think we're all caught up.
Built our military stronger, bigger, better than ever before.
But apparently, according to Mo Brooks, it doesn't work anymore, and our soldiers and our military equipment sucks because you're no longer president.
I see it being dissipated and being given. Our military is being given to the enemy.
Are they? Did we hand over soldiers? Okay, guys, gather around. You all now work for the Taliban. Just letting you know. I drive a truck. Yeah, you're going to drive a stolen truck that used to belong to the Afghan military. But the engine's seized up. They didn't even service the goddamn thing. It's 122 degrees. Look. Our military is being given.
Biden failed totally on the pandemic, and he's now overseeing the greatest foreign policy humiliation in the history of the United States of America.
Well, I would go back to Vietnam, really, for that one. But give it a week.
This is the greatest humiliation I've ever seen.
Well, obviously, that since you've had the mirrors removed from your house.
Biden's botched exit in Afghanistan is
an exit. That's the one big difference between his presidency and your presidency, is that there's an actual exit. The guy who never did shouldn't judge the guy who did. That would be
astonishing display of gross incompetence by a nation's leader, perhaps at any time that anybody's ever seen.
Never. Yeah, nobody's ever seen anything like this. I mean, obviously, no one's ever gotten us out of Afghanistan since it started. So it's nothing really to compare it to.
Another situation like this.
Yeah, no, especially during the last 4 years, there was nothing to compare it to. There was no exit from Afghanistan to compare it to.
Vietnam looks like a masterclass in strategy compared to Joe Biden's catastrophe. And it didn't have to happen.
No, it didn't. It could have. What was different last year? What was different last year where you couldn't bring everybody out? Or the year before that? Or the year before that? What was different in 2018 to now in terms of exit? What was different? Was the government better? Was it more functioning? Was the military better trained? Were they, more capable now than they were then? No.
All he had to do is leave the soldiers there until everything's out. Or
just leave the soldiers till everything's out. And then they can hitchhike to Uzbekistan.
Citizens, our weapons. Then you bomb the hell out of the bases. We have 5 bases. And you say bye-bye.
You say bye-bye. Really, if it's that easy, why didn't you do it? Why? If it's that easy, 4 years you had, why didn't you do it? Because everybody knew it would look like shit, and you would get bad poll numbers, and you're an egomaniac and a narcissist and a psychopath and a bigot and an idiot, and you can't do it. You were too afraid. You were scared to do it. You were scared. You were too afraid to leave because the optics would have sucked no matter who did it. And Biden finally did it when nobody else did. And now you got a boohoo from Cullman, Alabama.
You say bye-bye.
You say bye-bye.
Those big giant planes taking off with people hanging on the sides and falling off. There'll never be anything like that. That's worse than the helicopters. You remember the helicopters taking off the roofs? This blows it away. Not even
From Saigon, he means.
a contest. This will go down.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, the helicopters taking off from the roof of the Saigon embassy it was Americans that were clinging to that, and a lot of their Vietnamese wives and children, which was kind of an aspect of it. These were Afghan males that were not allowed into the vehicle. And some of them were running along. We all remember the guy in the blue suit who was happy to see everyone go.
One of the great military defeats of all time, and it did not have to happen that way.
No, it didn't have to happen. You're right. We could have stayed for another 5 years.
Hey, this is not a withdrawal. This was a total surrender. This surrender for no reason.
You arranged for a May 1st date for no reason. We were leaving last year.
They weren't asking. We had them. I dealt with Abdul. He was the leader.
Abdul, just a random Abdul.
Abdul, anything happens,
Bardar,
we're going to rain terror upon you. It will be a terrible thing.
And by the way, there haven't been any mass firings on Americans leaving. They've been letting people through. It's messy, but they're going. There's some Afghans they're trying to stop from leaving because they're afraid of a brain drain, because they don't know how to run the goddamn country. But our folks are okay so far. Yeah, 650,000 people dead because this asshole thought it's 14 cases, it's going to zero. And China's doing a great job. They're very professional. I talked to Xi last night. He's handling the pandemic. It's not even going to reach over here. I closed off China. Nobody else did. I mean, 28 other countries did last Friday. But by this Tuesday, I've joined those countries, and nobody else wanted to do it except everybody in my cabinet.
Don't touch our American citizens. Don't ever come to our country.
Don't ever come to our country, especially if you were an interpreter or translator. Don't try to get a visa. He and Stephen Miller will stop you from getting over here.
Don't ever come to our country. And you're going to continue fighting your civil war. I can't do that. They've been fighting it for hundreds of years. That's what they do, is they fight. And they're good fighters. But I had a good relationship other than that one statement. I said, after I said that, I said, now let's get down to business. And
okay, what was the business? Tell us. Tell everybody how we were going to leave May 1st and that we were going to leave and nobody could stop us leaving.
A conditions-based agreement.
What was the conditions? Because we've always had a conditions-based agreement as far as leaving. We've had one since 2014, as a matter of fact. In 2014, we started blowing up gear because we were getting the fuck out. And the conditions weren't right. It was just, it was like, I should do my hair in doubly.
And they didn't meet the first two conditions, and we hit them hard, and then they met them, and then they had a couple of other conditions that they were ready to meet, and then we had a rigged election, and we had a new president. And the new president came into office and he dropped to his knees and he said, come on in and take everything that we have.
Is that what he did?
This is a disgraceful thing, the most embarrassing thing that we've ever seen in this country. There's never been
nothing's more embarrassing than getting out of Afghanistan.
Embarrassment. And the nations of the world, both friend and foe, are looking at us and saying, what the hell happened so quickly to the United States of America?
If they'd only stayed in and spent $49 billion next year, too. Now that they're not spending that money in Afghanistan, they might actually build a comprehensive cyber capability.
The equipment that they've got is the most sophisticated.
Thanks for hosting me, 15 Cent.
Military equipment in the world. He surrendered our air base. He surrendered our weapons. He surrendered our embassy. They spent $1 billion.
Why are we having an embassy in a country where we don't recognize the government?
Building this ridiculous.
Well, honestly, What's the difference between surrendering an embassy and not having an embassy anymore? The building? We didn't build a fucking building there. We took one over. What are we going to keep leasing the fucking place?
Embassy, and he abandoned.
Why did he break the lease on our building in Kabul?
Our great American citizens. They're over right now. They have no idea. Remember this, the Taliban's tough. And they don't respect our country, and they don't respect our president.
And that's why we need to have an embassy full of Americans in the capital city of a country that's overrun by the Taliban, you know, just for shits and giggles.
It's not good. They're over.
It's not good. They're terrible, vicious fighters. They're awful. They're animals. All they know how to do is fight, but they respect us, which is why we should have civilians wandering around in their country.
Now, and they don't know what's going to happen. Our citizens. Joe Biden was.
Sure we do. Our citizens are getting out.
Going on vacation as Afghanistan was going to hell.
Says the guy who golfed more than any president, including during a pandemic.
And this is what you get when you have weakness in the White House. You can't have weakness in the White House.
Yeah, if there's weakness in the White House, you don't stay in Afghanistan? Huh?
To respect your president. When I was president, we only...
Wait, you were president? I'd forgotten all about that.
Strength. Remember the 59 shots we took at Syria?
Yeah, and then I remember the Russians taking over our military bases there.
59 missiles, every single one of them hit their target from...
Yeah, that's true, but their targets weren't anything functioning. They blew up an airfield no one was using and 3 Quonset huts with nothing in them.
100 miles away. And I was sitting...
Right, which is even more proof that you don't need to be in country to do those kind of strikes.
President Xi of China, you remember having chocolate cake at Mar-a-Lago? It was wonderful cake.
I'm sorry, with who?
Having chocolate. And I was sitting with President Xi of China. You remember having chocolate cake at Mar-a-Lago? It was wonderful.
Maybe, just maybe, I need to, let's see. Trump, chocolate, cake, Mar-a-Lago. Yeah. There it is. Here's the quote, whatever. Yeah. I was sitting at the table. We had finished dinner. Trump told Fox Business host Maria Bartiromo, we're now having dessert, and we had the most beautiful piece of chocolate cake you've ever seen. And President Xi was enjoying it. He touched his tongue to make sure. Bartiromo then said it was brilliant that the missiles were unmanned. Yeah, most missiles, for the record, are unmanned. Just for the record. I mean, you might want to talk to somebody at NASA just to be sure, check my math on this. But most missiles are unmanned. I mean, except for, I think, Slim Pickens at one point rode one. Yes, that's true. John Mahoney, we're great minds think alike. It's so incredible. It's brilliant. Trump agreed. So what happens, I said, we just launched 59 missiles heading to Iraq. And I want you to know this, Trump said in the interview, and he was eating his cake and he was silent. Launched missile strikes on Syrian airbase last week. Trump said, we've just launched 59 missiles heading to Iraq. His decision to launch missile strikes on a Syrian airbase. We've just launched 59 missiles heading to Iraq. And she was silent. Probably he was silent because he was like, wait a minute, you're firing missiles at Iraq again? What the fuck for?
Okay. And when I said to him what we had just done, the missiles were launched, He looked at me and he goes, repeat. I didn't know he spoke English, actually. He said, repeat. I said, what did you just say? Repeat. So he spoke a little more English than I thought.
So he just told you to repeat what you were saying. He kind of ordered you to speak, and you did?
Because he never said hello, but he said repeat. And
he never said hello?
He said, we just shot 59 missiles in from ships very far away. Every one of them hit their target. It was an incredible display of talent and weapons. And the reason... The reason...
And he said repeat because you said Iraq, and he was hoping when you repeated it, you would say Syria and not have, as the idiot president of the United States, strike the wrong country.
We did that is because we had to, because President Obama and Biden drew the red line in the sand and said, don't cross it, and they crossed it, and nothing happened. That's when Russia got involved. Russia went in. They said, oh, nothing's going to happen. So Russia got involved. Other countries got involved.
Yeah, and they ended up with 3 of our bases.
Red line in the sand from President Obama that was just absolutely, it just didn't matter. It was just words. That's a problem with a lot of politicians, actually.
Yeah, it's like during the campaign trail when somebody says, we're getting out of Afghanistan, I'm the only person who can get us out, I'm going to get us out, it's time we end those kind of wars. And then they go 4 whole years without doing it and then shit on the guy who said, I'm getting us out of Afghanistan, and then actually does it. You mean like that?
But not Mo. But it just doesn't matter. When he said, red line, don't ever cross it, and they crossed it, and nothing happened. But the 59 missiles were an incredible display. Under my administration, everyone in the world knew.
Yeah, they were an incredible display. They hit nothing of value. They were mostly for show, and we let the Russians know that they were coming.
Not to mess around with America. They knew that.
If you mess around with America, the President Trump will fire missiles somewhere near something that looks like it might be important, but nowhere near anything that's actually important. He'll show you. He's going to put giant holes in the desert.
They understood our power, and that I would not hesitate to use it in defense of our citizens. And the Taliban understood that maybe as well as anybody. This would never have happened if I was president.
That's true. We would have never gotten out of Afghanistan if Trump continued to be president. He would have continued to punt this just like he did during his first term.
Our country was so respected. Everybody respected our country.
Did they?
China respected our country.
That's why they sent a bioweapon, right? That's why they signed a deal for $30 billion of agricultural goods they were going to buy, and then only bought $12 billion only because they were starving.
What?
You know, they respected us. That's what they did. It was just total respect. It was their way of showing respect. It's how they do it over there.
We took in billions and billions of dollars in taxes and tariffs from China.
Yeah.
They gave us.
But enough about Walmart.
10 cents. But then, of course, the China virus came. And
I just didn't feel the same way.
It was a lot different. My attitude toward China changed.
Yes, my heart wasn't in it anymore.
As I personally told the Taliban leader, if anyone ever double-crossed the United States of America, it would be the last thing they ever did. We said it loud.
Well, obviously not. I mean, if you look at a lot of the January 6 people, you're clamoring to get them out of jail. And the dude who, literally is an American citizen, parked an alleged bomb, wasn't really a fucking gas can on his lap, but, threatened the Library of Congress with a WMD, thinking it was another capital. I think that would count as a double cross or cross the United States. And he's just going to get a psych eval and go to jail for a long time. Yeah, China's gone, by the way. Yes, they double crossed us on the deal and apparently attacked us with a bioweapon that he just let fly. Thank you, Green Girl, for gifting the subs. That's awesome.
Knew it better than anybody, and Alabama knew it because one thing, we won Alabama by a record, we won South Carolina by a record, and then they said, we lost Georgia? How the hell did that happen?
Well, you fucked up. I mean, you made a lot of people sick and you ignored the only true emergency and the only true test of your entire presidency. Also, you didn't get us out of Afghanistan like you said you were going to. So I don't know, maybe that factored into some people's way of thinking.
That doesn't happen.
It did, actually.
No, we know how that happened.
Yes, you fucked up. You were a terrible candidate. You were beat by a guy who did most of his campaigning in small venues during a pandemic, making sure that he didn't go out too much. And you notice he never got COVID and you did. That's weird.
How it happened. But under our leadership, America was respected again. Our people did a great job. I've been watching Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State. He did a great job, and he's going around spreading the word and spreading
the word that he was there when you made a deal with the Taliban, and you got the leader of the Taliban, the guy who's running it right now, out of a Pakistani jail just to do that. Oh, that was weird.
Tougher. He just said it.
I just said it.
But nobody would know it. Nobody would know it. When you look at what's happening, nobody would know it.
No.
But we're tougher. I'd like to explain that to Abdul.
Yeah, explain how we're tougher.
And to everybody else who are much.
Well, you could have explained it to him because you guys got him out of jail. Somebody else would be theoretically running the show right now, but you broke him out of jail because he was the de facto leader of the Taliban, and you got him out of a Pakistani jail. Huh?
Please remember that. It's hard for them to understand that now after watching this. Think of that. The soldiers have left. I could just see this. The leadership of the Taliban standing there.
Uh-huh. Yeah, just gathering around going, thanks, Trump.
Somebody walking up. Sir, the soldiers have left.
Is that how they say sir to them too? Wow, it's nice. They treat them with the same deference. They don't speak Arabic over there? No?
Afghanistan. He goes, what? The soldiers have left. And they've left all of their citizens behind. And they've left $83 billion worth of equipment behind, including brand new Apache helicopters.
No, he didn't. We flew those out.
Thousands of Humvee vehicles with armor guard. Equipment
that have been sitting in the sun, unserviced, where the engines have seized up. And even the Afghan military didn't take care of them. But good luck getting them rolling again. If you hook some camels up, they can go about 3 miles an hour.
Nobody has ever even seen before. It was so sophisticated and good.
Yeah, nobody's ever seen an up-armored Humvee that was not up-armored.
So can you imagine these guys, Abdul and his friends, sitting?
Yes, Abdul and his friends going, wasn't it sweet that they got you out of jail in Pakistan, sir?
There. That the United States soldiers, our military, has left. They walked in. They walked in. And they took everything. It's crazy.
You couldn't have removed all that stuff last year, along with all the soldiers during COVID? That was impossible? Never occurred to you? Didn't register as a thing at all? Okay.
It's crazy. I've never seen anything so stupid in my life. Somebody said,
well, besides staying in all during your whole presidency, I think that counts.
Don't say it, sir. It's not good. I asked yesterday, I was with a group of people, and there was a 5-year-old child. And I explained the situation to the 5-year-old child.
Uh-huh. What, did you use big words?
They said, no, you shouldn't do that, sir.
Well, yeah, because of how you explained it. That's how a 5-year-old child will react. I mean, it's clearly the part of the brainstem you're hitting in most of these folks.
Because the press won't.
Did he say sir, though? That's what I want to know.
And I said, that's okay. I don't mind. The press doesn't like anything I do. They actually do like it, but they'll never say it, okay? But
the press loved that you stayed in Afghanistan for 4 years.
I asked the child, so what would you do after describing?
This is his brain trust. He's asking a 5-year-old what you would do.
Would you leave the military until everything's out?
Yeah, I would leave them in the desert with no gear and no base and no way out as I bomb the runways and then extract my soldiers?
Including the civilians and all of that incredible military equipment? Or would you have the military go out first? Sir, I'd leave the military in. He was.
Yeah, that's a 5-year-old's thought. And you go, if you leave them in, they're all going to die because you've blown up all the airplanes and all the trucks that are going to get them out. And you've destroyed the runways where you would land and pick them up. So now they're just standing on the side of the road with well-armed Taliban guys who've been given millions of dollars worth of weaponry from the Afghan armed forces that we've been propping up. And we could have gotten them out 4 years ago because nothing has changed.
He said, I'd leave the military in. Get everything out first. I said, thank you very much. But they didn't want me to tell that story. They thought it was not an appropriate story, but it's true.
Who's they?
This is a 5-year-old kid, 5 or 6.
Something like that. I don't know. You ate him right after, right? So what did he taste like? Did he taste like a 5-year-old?
Old kid.
Thank you.
And this is what we're stuck with. But when Biden...
We're stuck with not being stuck in Afghanistan anymore.
Office, he foolishly tore up our really good plan. Again.
Your really good plan? What was the really good plan?
It's conditions. We do this, we do this, we do this.
Which is why we've stayed in there every single fucking time.
Do these things, we're not going to do it. And then we start dropping bombs all over the place. And they say, you know what? We're going to do it. We've decided to do it.
What, in Kabul?
We had a good understanding.
Yeah, if you don't, we're going to kill all the people you're going to be shooting if you're not nice to our people as they leave.
I always hated. Remember when I came in, Obama said the worst problem we have is North Korea, Kim Jong-un.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what's the problem? He said, I think you're going to go to war with North Korea.
No, he didn't.
I said, have you ever called?
That story has changed so much over time. Now it's, it was going to be a war because everybody thought Hillary Clinton was going to go to war with North Korea, and that was a fait accompli, and that was the narrative that was around at the time. So if Hillary gets in, we were going to go to war because she's going to take us to war because Obama just told him it was the biggest geopolitical threat you had as far as, and by the way, because of the range of the missiles. They were always trying to extend the range of their missiles. And during Trump's 4 years in office, they indeed developed ballistic missiles that could reach American soil. They didn't have that before. They had more nukes and a further range after Trump left office.
No. Actually, he called him 14 times and was not responded to.
Yeah, they didn't pick up. Yeah, Kim Jong-un didn't pick up Obama's call.
He told me no, but that wasn't truthful.
Yeah, you just made up a story, and when someone tells you it's bullshit, you're like, nah, that's not true. Why? Because I don't think so. Okay, well, sure.
To talk to him, wouldn't you? Rather than nuclear war, wouldn't it be nice? Anyway, through a series of events, I did talk to him, and it was nasty at the beginning, remember? He said, we have a red button on my desk, and I said, I have a much bigger red button.
Yeah, it brings you Diet Coke, apparently. He needs a bigger button because you're, failing eyesight? They have to give you giant buttons. It's kind of like an old folks phone. Remember when you get a phone, it's got giant buttons on it? My phone has a large 1 and a large 2. Look how small your buttons are with your functioning digits.
My red button works and yours doesn't. And anyway, it was very nasty. And then all of a sudden it became a love fest.
Because he realized if he kissed your ass, you would let him build ballistic missiles. You just blow it off. Oh, he likes me, so build whatever the fuck you want. I'm not going to be here when you blow everybody up.
Right. And I went to North Korea, went to South Korea, went across the line. We got along great. There was no nuclear catastrophe. But you got to be careful.
There wasn't one during Obama's years either.
He does not respect Joe Biden, and he does not respect any longer America. But I said, it's good to speak to people. I stopped the pipeline in Russia. I stopped it. Nobody's ever...
Yeah, so that Russia could, send their oil through ships and through trucks. And if we ever wanted to stop their oil, we would have to blow up a bunch of ships and blow up a bunch of roads and a bunch of trucks. Now we just get to blow up one little section of the pipeline and their economy can collapse.
Tougher to Russia, but I got along great with President Putin. We had a great relationship. He said, you're killing me with this pipeline. I said, look, not right. Germany shouldn't have been doing that. The European Union takes tremendous advantage of us. Almost as bad economically as China. People say, oh, that's a terrible thing to say. I say, really? How many Chevrolets are in Beijing right now? Maybe none, okay? They won't take our cars. They won't take our
Well, right now, I mean, it's hard to tell because of the floodwaters.
Product. They won't take anything. And I was hitting them hard. And then the China virus came, and it was a terrible period of time, but we did the greatest job. And because the base was so strong, what we did was so strong.
We did the greatest job. The greatest job, by the way, is 570,000 dead during his presidency.
Our country is doing,
by the way, and not including the underreported deaths.
well. It's going to be blown now with all the inflation and everything else that's taking place. But we built such a strong foundation that our country is doing
Thanks,
great,
Marty.
and other countries are doing horribly, horribly. Remember, they used to use anything to hit us. When we got hit, I closed it to China, closed it to Europe, anything to hit us. But they'd say, in South Korea, they're doing so well. South Korea is being decimated right now.
Yeah, they said the same shit about Florida and Texas. They're saying, yeah, these lockdowns in the blue states didn't work. We've really dodged the bullet. Now, of course, more people have died in Florida than are the margin of victory that DeSantis had in the election.
India is doing so well. India is being decimated right now. We did a great job on that. The ventilators, the equipment that we got, the cupboards were all bare.
Yeah, and you left them that way for 3.5 years, apparently. You come in, you're president of the United States, and you go, what do we got? Give me a rundown of anything we need, stuff we got to work on. I want to be the greatest president in the history of the country. We have no medical supplies in reserve in case there's an emergency. Okay, well, if we have a medical emergency, we'll fill it up then. What?
Thing that we did, and then we developed a vaccine, 3 vaccines in 3 months, in 9 months. And actually, I'll tell you, it was 3 days less. 3 days less than 9 months, and it's great. And you know what? I believe totally in your freedoms. I do. You got to do what you have to do. But I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines. But no, that's okay. That's all right.
Listen to the whole crowd booing.
Freedoms. But I happen to take the vaccine. If it doesn't work, you'll be the first to know. Okay? I'll call up Alabama and say, hey, you know what?
I'm magnetic.
But it is working. But you do have your freedoms. You have to maintain that.
Yeah, have your freedoms, to boo me for suggesting you get the vaccine.
Maintain that. And you got to get your kids back to school. And the mask issue is interesting because Fauci said masks are bad, and now he's a radical masker. Now he wants you to wear
5-6 masks.
Different masks at one time. I don't know. He also told me he was a great athlete. Then I saw him throw out a pitch at the baseball. I used to be a great athlete, sir. You did?
He said used to be.
Really? Oh, that's good. Then I watch him on television. That's not an athlete. The ball almost went to first base, didn't it? The issue here is not about...
That's third base that way, by the way. Just saying. First base would be to your left. Unless I guess he's facing at the outfield.
To leave Afghanistan, the issue is Joe Biden's staggering incompetence and gross negligence. He doesn't know where the hell he is. You think he's running the government? He's not running the government.
No, so this isn't his fault, so I don't know why you're picking on him.
Creating the great...
Who is? The deep state? Is the deep state forcing us to get out of Afghanistan?
Strategic humiliation that we've ever seen as a country, and it was... something that we...
Besides staying in for 20 years?
Should have stopped, and the general should have done something. They should have done something.
What they should have done? Forced him to stay in Afghanistan?
Talked to him and said, look, Commander-in-Chief, but you just couldn't have done that. If he had...
Yeah, these are whole sentences.
Evacuate. If he just moved the people out, he should have done it, and he should have done it first. He had to have done it first. Sometimes in life, decisions are made. And when those decisions are made, if they're bad decisions, you've got to get away from them. And you've got...
What? If you make a bad decision, just avoid it when the chickens come home to roost, don't be in the coop.
Get away from them fast.
What the fuck? This is good advice. This is a lesson in personal responsibility from Donald John Trump.
You don't get away from them.
Hold on. I've got to back this up. Here you go. But what? You what now? What do you do if there's a bad decision?
Decisions are made.
Hold on.
He had to have done it first. You know, sometimes in life, decisions are made.
This is true. Sometimes in life, decisions are made.
And when
decision, by the way, is to cut off from. Like an incision is to cut into. A decision is to cut away from. Therefore, when you're deciding, you are cutting off all other possibilities. You are making a decision. You are burning the boats at the shore. We're not going back. A decision has been made. And then you stand by that decision.
To have done it first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes in life, decisions are made.
Yes.
And when those decisions are made, if they're bad decisions, you've got to get away from them. And you've got to get away from them fast.
How do you get away from bad decisions? Oh, pretend you didn't make them. I see. Like if it was a shitty decision was made to let Abdul Badahar out of the Pakistani jail. That was a bad decision. So you want to pretend you had nothing to do with that.
If you don't get away from them, you're not going to have a country anymore.
What the fuck is that? What is that? What does this mean? Maggots. We have to have some maggots in here. Trump supporters. What the fuck is he talking about right there? How is this responsibility?
First. You know, sometimes in life, decisions are made. And when those decisions are made, if they're bad decisions, you've got to get away from them. And you've got to get away from them fast. And if you don't get away from them, you're not going to have a country anymore. You know, I said about elections.
Honestly, what the fuck is that? How is that a leader speaks like that? I mean, can you imagine if they put these words into Patton's mouth while he's walking around?
Don't have great elections, if we don't have borders, if we don't have the things that are being taken away from us, we're not going to have a country anymore. And certainly we're not going to have.
Yeah, if we don't stay in Afghanistan, are we really America?
Respected country anymore.
Yes, people really respected us for staying in Afghanistan and fucking around forever.
With me in office, the Taliban would not have ever dreamt of capturing our airfield or parading around.
Well, of course not, because we never would have left. They didn't capture it. We left those airfields. They're not our airfields. We have no interest in having airfields in that fucking country anymore. We don't need soldiers standing in 120-degree heat for no fucking reason, because we can launch strikes from boats hundreds, if not thousands of miles away.
Our American weapons. Did you see all those guns they have?
Yes, we saw all the guns they have, and no gun oil and limited ammunition. And
who recognized those guns? Because they're the same guns you had. We made them. There would have been no emergency embassy evacuation and no take.
There would have never been an embassy evacuation of any kind. We would not have evacuated our embassy. We'd have just stayed.
Down of our flag. They took down our flag.
Yeah, we don't put a flag of the American of an American embassy over a building we're not in.
Because we would have established clear lines that the Taliban would have never dared to cross.
Well, one of those lines would be, we don't recognize you as a government because you're not one, because this is a bunch of tribal bullshit, and we're not having an embassy here. What the fuck?
The problem with Biden is that our enemies.
The problem with Biden is he doesn't want to have an embassy in Taliban-run Kabul and recognize them as the legitimate government. What?
Are not afraid of him. They don't respect him. Our adversaries and our allies no longer trust him. They can't trust him anymore.
Trust him to what? Stay in Afghanistan forever?
Longer. Remember, he went back and he went to Europe, and they didn't know what the hell was going on. And they said, we're back. We're back. In other words, we're back. Now you can continue to take advantage of us. because Europe took advantage of us.
And the Afghan government and the Afghan military didn't by making us stay there and hold their hand for fucking ever. Honest to God, what is the turnaround in this? Where's the plan that we know we wouldn't have had an embassy there, but we would have had a nicer exit? Is that the argument? Because it doesn't seem to be.
With NATO, like nobody ever. You know, I got Europe to pay $430 billion toward NATO. They would have never paid for 15, 18.
Yeah, during 2008, when everybody's economies went to shit and 2% of their economy was crap.
Years it was like this, the payment.
Yeah, from 2008, you mean?
And we're protecting them. And some of them were totally delinquent. They didn't pay. And I said, you got to pay. They said, sir, what would happen if we didn't pay? Would you protect?
Did they say sir in English or Arabic? I've lost the. Are we talking Taliban people now?
So I said, if you didn't pay, I would not recommend protecting you. And it was amazing how fast that money came in, right? That money came in. That money came in fast. 430. It started off with 130 billion, not million, billion. And then 430 billion came in very quickly. We did a lot of good things with South Korea. I said, we protect you for nothing. You've got to pay.
Yeah, this is we've moved away from shared security to a protection racket. South Korea is a lovely country. It'd be a shame if it were to catch fire.
You're a rich country. You make the boats. You make all our television sets, which you took from us. Thank you very much. You make so many cars for us. You got to pay. And they agreed, and they paid billions of dollars at my request. It wasn't that easy. It took a little while, like about 2 days.
You also still didn't do the shared military exercises because Kim Jong-un didn't want you to, because you didn't want to make him upset, because he was your new friend and he wrote you a letter and you love each other.
They agreed to pay billions of dollars. And then I said, look, next year, wait till after the election, but you're going to have to pay at least $5 billion. No, we will not pay. I said, yes, you will pay. We have 30.
We're going to let North Korea kill you. What the fuck?
1,000 soldiers in South Korea. He said, no, President Moon, nice man, good man.
But, I'd rather let Kim Jong-un take over the South.
But he said no, which he should say.
By the way, if we'd have pulled those troops out, for example, and Kim Jong-un took that as a yes move and decided to move into the South, and the Korean War was for naught, how do you think that would have gone over in the international press?
Why should he?
He didn't pull them out. He wasn't going to pull them out. It's a bunch of blather.
Suckering us for so many years. So he said, no. I said, you're going to have to pay $5 billion. But then the election result turned out different than what it should have, different from the real result. And I just heard they made a deal with South Korea to pay a cost of living adjustment. You know what that is? Nothing. On the money I raised. What? It's like nothing. And that was another country, I'm sure, that was extremely happy with the results. But I did a great job in protecting them. I think I've saved them from Kim Jong-un. So I don't think that.
How?
I'll tell you what, a lot of people from South Korea come up to me and say, thank you very much, sir.
Do they?
Really, I think I saved them from Kim Jong-un because of the relationship I developed with Kim Jong-un. Biden is the most.
You still have that relationship, or? I mean, he's lost weight, so probably not.
Pathetic president. And look, he makes Jimmy Carter look great, right?
Well, Jimmy Carter actually had double the job growth during his single term that you did. So you actually make Jimmy Carter look great. I'm just saying for the record. Twice the number of jobs created with fewer people in the country. That's weird. Because the population was smaller then in in the late 70s. So for that 4 years that he was in office, smaller population than now. And yet he created twice as many jobs as you did. That's weird.
Look at that man with that jacket. I love you, man. How many rallies have you come to? What number is this? 30. Much more than that. Much more. We have some women. Are they here tonight?
Ew.
North Carolina. Where are they? We have some women. They've been to 96. I didn't even know we did 96. Said, how many? Sir, we're up to about 96. I said, I didn't know we did that many. But, look, this is a very unpleasant subject.
Yes, it is.
But still, is this the greatest place to be in the world? At a Trump
Pasture outside of Cullman, Alabama? Very possibly.
right? It's unpleasant to talk about it.
It's unpleasant to talk about that this is the best place.
But sometimes you have to think and talk about unpleasant things.
Yeah, sometimes.
Not only is it Biden and the embarrassment to the United States abroad, his radicalism and extremism is currently destroying our nation right here at home.
Oh my God.
And nobody understands that.
Yeah, apparently nobody understands it. It's literally being destroyed and no one's noticing. One would think that if everything around you was being destroyed, you'd actually notice. Like, for example, last year, over 500,000 Americans died. And now that they've stopped dying in those kind of numbers, except, largely there's spikes in red states where people think you're full of shit and won't take your vaccine, apparently, because they don't believe in it.
Better than Alabama. Nobody. Remember when Biden used to go and say, like, he's in Iowa, and it'd say, it's great to be in Idaho. Sir, you're in Iowa. He would do this all the time.
Oh, you mean like you in Nevada?
He was in New Hampshire. It's great to be in Maine today. Sir, you're in New Hampshire. The worst was when he was in New York.
You know what the best is? When he's in the White House and he's speaking to people from the White House, because he's in the White House. He's the president of the United States, and his office is in the White House. And he lives in the residency at the White House.
And he said
it's Minneapolis, which is the little Annapolis that Trump used to go to all the time.
Great to be in Florida.
Yeah, and it's a little. I mean, Trump is right. When a leader says things that are, embarrassingly stupid, like
we're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
Or one of our favorites.
Michigan gave us Motang.
Okay, I've got to turn that up a little bit. It's quieter than 5 eggs.
Michigan gave us Motang.
Like that. Or, when he's introducing people to screw up a name.
We're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, and his wonderful wife, Karen.
Yes, that's right. He called Karen Pence Carrot Pence.
That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick. It's too heavy.
Stuff like that. When a president when he messes up a word, I think that's...
Free health care for illegal... look.
Or when he can't pronounce the name of the company that he says somebody...
the Burmese executives. So this Burmese, they say, pronounce it Burmese.
Yeah, something like that. When a dude can't talk or when he screws up geography.
To me, Corona means Italy.
Things like that. It is embarrassing. I mean, it...
There were no palm trees. Great to be in Florida. He'd do that all the time. I've never done it yet.
No? Never?
I've never done it with all...
How is Carrot Pence, by the way?
The speeches I've made, I was just saying because I said Alabama, but I know exactly. I didn't have to think about it.
Because you're only doing one of these every couple of months?
Well, Alabama. I love Alabama. I've always loved Alabama.
And it's in the teleprompter. I've always loved Alabama, and honestly, where else would I be in a field?
And I've always said, if that ever happens, you can forget about the rest of the night because the speech is a total disaster. In other words, it's great to be in South Carolina with you people tonight. And I'd say, you know what? I'd say, if that ever happened, it's a disaster. You might as well just walk off the stage because you could be Winston Churchill, great speaker. You could be Winston Churchill, the great Winston Churchill, make an incredible rest of the speech, and it's a disaster. The only difference is if you make a speech, if he does it, which he does all the time, different forms. The
Winston Churchill?
Press doesn't cover it.
No, the press doesn't cover when Winston Churchill doesn't know the difference between North Carolina and Alabama or South Carolina and South Dakota.
The only guy that didn't get covered falling, walking up the stairs.
What are you talking about? They play the footage all the time. Fox plays it on a loop.
The press didn't cover it, other than a couple internet covered it, I guess, right? But the press, Do you think they would have covered it if I fell on the Air Force One? He fell 3 times.
So?
Down goes Frazier. Remember that? Down. He kept going down and up, down and up. I said, what the hell's going on here? I was watching that. What's going on with our president?
Well, if you go down, it's one thing, but if you keep getting up, that would be the Frazier kind of idea.
And it wasn't on one nightly newscast.
Why is it news?
I think I might have been on. I did the ramp, the long, slippery ramp.
You look like you'd been hit with a bat.
General, it was pouring out.
Oh, my God. We're doing the fucking ramp story again?
Pouring. I said, General, this is a bad deal here. I got leather shoes on the bottom, and I'm going to fall. I'm not going to let them. I'm not. So I walked down tiny little steps. What's wrong with the president? The biggest story. I was so proud when I got down, I didn't fall. I said, General, I don't want to grab you, but I may have to grab you. Big, strong general, commandant of West Point. I made my best speech at West Point that day.
Did you? Was that the best one?
But then it was pouring. And when I went down the ramp, and it was pure, it wasn't, normally they have like some little grooves, nothing.
Yeah, tell us the story.
It was like an ice skating rink. I think it was a trap. And I said, General, this is not a good situation. That sucker looks slippery as hell, and I'm not going to allow them to take me falling. Remember Gerald Ford fell? That was not a good time.
It was good for Chevy Chase, though.
Some other bad things happened to presidents. Not a good time. You can't do that. You can't let that happen. So what happened?
Yes, great. You've really got the audience is with you. Keep at this. This is a good segment.
They made that.
Go on about this.
Sorry, I was so proud of myself. I made my best speech, and nobody talked about that speech. Someday, hopefully, they'll go back and get the speech I made at the graduation of West Point 2 years ago.
I covered it. It was terrible.
I'd love you to hear that speech. I called up the First Lady. I said, First Lady, I just made a great speech.
Really? You called her First Lady? Did she call you Sir? The fuck? Who calls her Boss Lady? What's happening?
She said, you're on television for the way you went down a ramp. That's all they talked about. But with him falling down the stairs 3 times, he was down. No, he's up. No, he's down again. Oh, my God. No, he's up. He's down again. He's down for 3 times. If that were a fight, they'd stop it, right? If that were a fight, they would have stopped it, Mike. In a matter of mere months, Biden has thrown our southern border wide open. When I left office, we handed the new administration the most secure border in U.S. history.
Thanks to COVID.
They turned it into the greatest border disaster in American history, probably anywhere in the world. They're emptying their prisons out into our country. And I'm not just talking about Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Mexico. I'm talking about Middle Eastern countries. Yemen.
Are they boating them over? So they're is it airplanes or boats? And they're gathering up murderers and rapists. So they're doing basically a big Con Air and flying them into where they drop them off, Guatemala or into Mexico. And then they're like, hey guys, whatever you do, I don't speak Arabic. Anybody speak Spanish and Arabic? I don't know who these guys are. Whatever you do, no rapo, no murdero until you cross America line. Do you think they understand? I hope so. Is that Steve Buscemi? I said, put the bunny back.
People are coming in from Yemen. Our country will really be in trouble.
Will it? Is that wishful thinking? By the way, everybody's sitting now.
You'll really be in trouble. Under my administration, we...
I'm kidding. They're not sitting. There's no chairs allowed.
Did the ridiculous catch and release. You catch somebody. You find out they're a criminal, and you release them immediately into our country.
Is that how it works? Is that how you did it? Or is that how you interpret it? It's actually process and release, and most people, when they're processed, are just expelled. They're not even deported. It doesn't even go through the deportation process. They're just expelled.
Asylum fraud. We deported record numbers of criminal aliens.
Well, Obama still has the record.
Negotiated historic agreements with Mexico and Central America to stop illegal immigration. And we built all of that wall that I just talked about.
That apparently doesn't work anymore.
But we had a stay in Mexico policy.
Right, and they did. They stayed in Mexico, and now they're being processed.
Into our country, I'm sorry. Stay in Mexico. Biden ended it. He ended it. But
yeah, because international law says we have to process the asylum claims. They just stayed there until you were going to process them, not after. The idea was you thought it would be catch and release, but into Mexico. He was going to release them into the northern borders, the towns of Mexico, where the cartels are, women, children, drug gangs. What could possibly go wrong?
What happened yesterday? We won in court, and a very wise judge said we're allowed to stay in Mexico. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Judge. Thank you very much. I mean, they used to stay in the United States, and then you'd never find them again. You stay, and some of these people are seriously tough criminals. I achieved
those 9-year-olds are really frightening.
90% reduction in illegal border crossings. Think of that, 90%. It was going to go much higher.
Yeah. COVID gave you a 90% reduction in a lot of things.
And brought illegal immigration to a virtual halt. It was the low.
Yeah, but, Russian anchor babies being what they are.
Levels ever
makes up for it.
And you could come into our country, but you had to come in legally. Finally, we did it, but we had to win a lot of court cases. Many of those court cases started against us by Democrats in Congress. Under the Trump administration, our message was clear. If you try to come here illegally, you will be caught, you will be detained, and you will be immediately sent back home where you belong.
Even if you have a legitimate asylum claim and you're a woman with a 3-year-old child who simply is looking for an NGO to sponsor them, or they have family members already in the United States and are eventually going to hopefully move back to their home country if the violence stops. But, better to dump a woman with a baby in Mexico to live in a tent surrounded by drug dealers. It's a great idea.
And when people heard that, and they hear it, they're genius. It's genius. When people heard that, and then they saw the results, because it was at games, it was happening, they never came. They stopped. Remember at the beginning with the caravans? We ended the caravans, but now the caravans are back at a level.
Are they?
Nobody's ever seen bigger.
Yes, we haven't seen caravans. That it's almost as if that was a bunch of puffery.
More powerful. It's a disgrace. Now the
disgrace. That was the word that he's waited well into the speech to use the word disgrace.
Radical left Democrats have surrendered our sovereignty to the coyotes and drug cartels, child smugglers, human traffickers, and they usually traffic in women.
Right. But if you catch any of those women or children, Trump wants you to dump those folks back into Mexico, where they can be treated well.
Biden stopped wall construction, instituted nationwide catch and release, wanted it back, and invited the entire world to make a mad dash for the USA when he said, "Come, you're welcome."
Did he say that? Did he say, "Come, you're welcome"? What day was that? Do you have a date on that? Can you... Citation needed. I'm just saying that's a pretty big statement. Did he open his hands like that, or you just kind of, that's a part of the exaggeration? But did we say, "Come, you're welcome"? Yeah.
I don't know if he knew. Do people think this is a good thing?
Well, no. I mean, he never said it, so obviously he doesn't think it's a good thing, or he would have said it. If it was a good thing, he probably would have said it. But
they're destroying our country. They're destroying. Last month alone, Border Patrol, who we love, apprehended a mind-boggling 210,000 illegal border crossers. You can multiply that times 6, 7, 8, or 9.
Oh, so those people, so Customs and Border Patrol are only catching about an eighth of them. Why? Because they're incompetent? Are you saying CBP personnel are incompetent? Is that your argument now? That when you're not president, they just let people through? That's what Border Patrol people do. Screw it. Biden's president. Let them walk through. I don't give a shit. Maybe they got COVID. They'll give it to some libs.
Of the people.
I mean, they'll have to walk through a bunch of South Texas towns and in Arizona and stuff like that on their way to the big cities where the libs are. On their way to San Francisco. Hopefully they won't cough on anybody who voted for Trump.
Come in without getting caught.
Sorry. I probably should have beg your pardon.
What?
Thank you. Just for legal reasons.
You can use numbers like that. Record numbers are getting away, and historic numbers are coming from.
Why are they getting away? Has the Customs and Border Patrol just gotten bad at their job? You built 500 some odd miles of wall, right? And the numbers are worse? Did the wall help them get over it? I don't understand. Were they under the impression that there was a minefield? And they're like, no, there's a wall. They dug up the mines.
Outside Mexico and Central America, from every corner all over the world, a lot of them coming in from the Middle East. At this rate, millions of illegal aliens.
Apparently, Americans in Alabama aren't sufficiently frightened of Hispanic people anymore, so they got to go, hiding amongst them are Spanish-speaking Yemenis.
Across our border just this year alone, millions of people. Many of these people are hardened criminals, murderers.
Yeah, I've seen that 7-year-old they found. He'll cut you.
Again, think of this. Just think of the statement. They are emptying their jails into the United States.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it's true just because you said it. If they're emptying their jails into their own countries. Are they driving them to the border? Do we have drone footage of trucks leaving Mexican prisons and going to the border? What the fuck is this?
Think of that.
I'm thinking of it, but it's still garbage. It makes no sense.
A lot of people don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means. You don't know what that means. What does it mean? Explain to us. How are they getting from the prison to the American border without being all rapey and murdery in between?
They are the toughest, meanest jails. They're emptying them into the United States.
How? Do they drive the whole building up and just tilt it? So stupid.
This massive overcrowding on our border is a super spreader disaster that will bring new variants into our nation. And honestly,
of what? A fake disease? I mean, come on. Like, what are the? I mean, it's not real in the first place. So why would I think all the variants are?
What?
I mean, obviously, are they going to bring the Del Taco variant? Is that what's happening? What's the next one?
What?
Right.
Far worse than variants. Far worse.
What's far worse than variants? What, smallpox? We vaccinate for that. Syphilis? You can't get it again.
MS-13 is being replenished to levels never seen before. I brought MS-13 through ICE and Border Patrol out by the thousands. Thousands. We were going into towns in Long Island, and these were brave
Long Island
warriors like law enforcement is. We have so much respect. And they'd go right into what they call a nest.
Is that what they call it?
Of a lot of these gang members. And
is it a thatch nest or is it more like a beehive? I'm not up on MS-13. Do they eat a bunch of like carbs and then just shit out the walls of their lair? Or do they fly in with twigs and pieces of string?
Fighting. All these guys that I know, my friends in the first row, I know every one of them very well.
I couldn't name one of them, but they're great.
One of them would do this job. And if they did, they'd be knocked out in about 2 seconds. They wouldn't do it well. They wouldn't want to do it. ICE is...
What the fuck kind of an insult is that?
These are brilliant, great, tough, strong, but more important than anything, patriotic people. They would go into these towns and they would get these hardened criminals that are loaded up with weapons, and they would get them the hell out of our country. It's amazing what they did for us. And now they're being treated horribly by this administration. Joe Biden is functioning.
They haven't stopped. Yes, MS-13's queen bees. They're looking for the queen right now. It's basically MS-13 is the murder hornets of Mexican gangs. By the way, is this guy is Trump their PR person? There's shit tons of gangs in this country. MS-13 is by no means the top threat as far as gang violence in the country. This is just dumb. But like every time he turns around, he wants you to think they're the worst. They're not even close.
Shut down interior enforcement and turned our nation into a giant sanctuary for dangerous criminals. We have criminals coming.
We haven't shut down interior enforcement.
This country.
And they're not Mexican. Most of the MS-13 guys that he's talking about, the reason that the South American countries wouldn't take them is because they're U.S. citizens. They were born in your country. They're your people. Why are you dropping them off here?
Nobody knows how bad it's going to be. Watch.
Okay, we'll watch.
Another Trump prediction.
Okay, yeah, we'll watch another Trump prediction.
In the Republican Party, we believe our country should be a sanctuary for law-abiding Americans, not for criminal aliens.
Yes, applause for a statement that means nothing.
My administration, we found the gang members.
America is for Americans, not for not Americans. Yay!
Dealers and various MS-13 killers. And we kick really, I mean quickly. We knock them out so fast. Nobody.
Well, then what are you worried about? You've got a wall.
Believe it. Thousands a year. And we quickly deported them, or we put them behind bars where they belong.
You mean the American citizens?
Sometimes they were so evil, so vicious, we didn't want to take a chance on bringing them back to their countries. And their countries didn't want them.
Wait. We were so afraid we didn't want to take them back to their countries because they might end up back here during your presidency, so we put them in our jails?
You know that story. I've told that story. When I came in, we'd catch these people and Border Patrol, ICE, I'd meet with the top people. They're incredible people. They'd say, sir, they won't take the people.
Sir.
I said, what do you mean they won't take them? They don't want them back. They don't want the gang members back. They don't want the killers back. They won't take them back.
Well, not back at all because they're Americans.
When we fly in with an airplane, they put planes on the runway so we can't land. We have to come back. The buses, they stop. They won't take them back, sir. None of the three major countries that we're talking about. Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador. They won't take them back, sir. I say, really, do we give them any money every year? This is early on, so, I learned exactly what it was. But early on, hadn't done it too long, right? Do we give them any money? Yes, sir. How much? About $500 million a year.
We've heard this bullshit again.
It's a lot of money.
And they've heard it, too. You can see how the audience is getting fidgety.
So I said, good, stop payment immediately. No more money going to these countries. No more money. No more money going to these countries.
And then the number of people leaving the country spiked, and that's when we had the caravans, because the only people who had money were the criminals.
Immediately stopped all of this 500 million, a little more than that, 500 million going to the three countries. And a day went by and I got a call from all three of the heads of those countries who I knew.
We would love to take them back. This is the story. Jesus.
And know and respect. They're smart. They're very streetwise people.
Are they? Yes. They're tough, too. Not as tough as the Taliban, but please.
Very smart and very, very streetwise. Mr. President, you stopped many millions of dollars from coming into.
Is that how they said it?
Honduras and Guatemala and El Salvador. You stopped it from coming in, Mr. President. Is there something we did wrong? Yes, you're not taking back people that came into our country illegally. You will not take them back. Oh, there must be some understanding, sir.
There must be some understanding. There must be some understanding. There's something. All right.
We would love to have them back. I said, congratulations. We'll be sending lots of planes your way. And we did. We got them all back. And we still didn't make the payment. I delayed that sucker a long time. We still didn't make the payment. We waited a long time, but they took them all back. And then the other day I heard that Biden wants to give those countries $4 billion.
Because the economic problems there are the reason why the people are leaving and coming here?
Said they're going to spend the money on economic development. No, it's going to go economic development into their bank accounts in Switzerland, okay? That's the economic development we're talking about. They want to give them $4 billion.
No, we're not going to give it to them. We're actually going to use it. We'll spend it there. And that's the whole streetlights argument that Biden had with them, which is they're like, we need streetlights. That'll help us with the thing. So give us some money and we'll build some streetlights. And like, nah, tell us where you want the streetlights. We'll put them in.
Working on the paperwork right now. The money's going to be stolen. It's going to be given to the cartels. It's going to be given to the traffickers. It's going to be kept by politicians. See, we only have honest politicians in our country.
Yeah, especially like Mo Brooks, who, sympathizes with the guy who parked a bomb outside of the Library of Congress.
Right? Like Mo.
Yes, and by the way, they are not applauding. They're just, they're over it. Okay, so.
That's true. We understand, and we've understood very much in America First, that immigration security is national security. And that's why we instituted the travel ban. Remember the travel ban? I took such heat where I was able to get people that came into our country from very tough countries, very, very tough countries. And I was able to stop them from coming to our country because we didn't want to have our stores blown up. We didn't want to have buildings set on fire and death.
And yet they did all last summer, and somehow that was Biden's America.
Destruction. So we lost at the lower court, we lost at the second court, and then we won at the United States Supreme Court. And to show you how dishonest the press is, recently they wrote about it. They said he lost in court, and they were right at the lower court. But then I lost again, but then I won. I said, you didn't say I won. Well, you did lose. You know, in other words, technically they're right. I lost in court, but I won. Then we have a travel ban. And without that travel ban, you would have some really bad people in here from...
Yeah, you'd also have some Coptic Christians who were trying to escape the violence and who would have, who are now dead, Christians who are being persecuted in those countries who are leaving those. The people who we would vet and we would want to come to our country from those areas because they're going to be killed by the violent extremists. See, that's why the vetting is important. But those people go through a process so that we can separate the wheat from the chaff in that regard. Whatever. You just wanted to leave everybody over there. Christians, like Reform Muslims, Jews who are in those areas. Just leave them. If they're in a bad country, fuck them.
Places in the world that are evil.
Cheers, Mr. Mad Dog.
And it was a great thing. I took a lot of heat over that travel ban. People said, that's not nice. They all like to call it a Muslim ban. It wasn't a Muslim ban. It was a travel ban from a lot of different countries.
Yeah, it's true. It was anybody from those countries, including Christians who are trying to escape persecution. A lot of them died just because of the country they were in. Because Muslim extremists were taking over their countries, Trump left them to die there. They would have had every right to come here, and they had family members, and they had people who would sponsor them, and they would have been valuable members of society, many of them. But yeah, he effectively canceled them.
Bad, and they send bad people to us. And because of the travel ban, we didn't have to accept that.
Yeah, and it also kept out all the good people because it was just, solving a complex problem with a toilet plunger.
So it was a great success, but they try and make it look like it wasn't very nice. We dramatically reduced refugee admissions and kept radical Islamic terrorists
and Coptic Christians and women and children
the hell out of our country. Is that
right? Yeah. Innocent people who were being tormented by ISIS and Al Qaeda, folks like that. People that support the American way of life who fought to be free themselves, more so than President Bone Spurs over here.
Is that okay? One of the first acts that Biden did after Mitch McConnell said, we must get back to work. We have to get our country going. We have to approve him as the president, even though the evidence was staggering. You'll see the evidence starting to come out. It's already come out far beyond.
Why weren't you at the Sioux Falls gathering? I'm very disappointed, and so is Mike.
What we need. By the way, far, far, far beyond what we need. We have to get back to our country and running our country. Mitch McConnell. And the first thing that Biden did was sign 17 of the worst executive orders in the history of our country.
Oh, you mean when he erased all your bullshit in a day and a half?
And one of them, Biden revoked that beautiful, wonderful travel ban.
Beautiful?
And a surge.
Even if you think it's necessary, beautiful is a weird way to talk about it.
Refugee resettlement from the most dangerous countries in the world, the most dangerous terrorists in the world. They come into our country now with no problem. Come on in. It's love to have you. This is a sick culture, and our country is a disaster, and it's going to die before your very eyes if this craziness isn't stopped in so many ways.
Jesus Christ. Like, way to lose your goddamn mind. No, it's not. Yes, I am bored with him. I mean, it's the same shit all the time. Now he's just driving it up to, he's trying to compete with Mo Brooks.
The Afghanistan thing is so simple to understand because, it's really, when people watch that, people that weren't even into watching political things and the news, but when people watch this, they understood it immediately about the military. Don't take them out. Leave it till last. Sort of like the captain of a ship. Let's jump off first before the passengers. I'm getting the hell out of here. Right? That's what it is.
So the military should have gone down with the ship. Our soldiers should have just died in Afghanistan because it was a sinking ship. Great analogy.
The captain is supposed to wait.
Trump's comeback is October 33rd. Get ready.
Watch and work. But we're seeing what happened.
What was that? Hold on. We're seeing what?
The captain is supposed to wait and watch and work.
The captain is supposed to wait and watch and work. No, he's supposed to sink. In the analogy of the Titanic, which is what I think you're trying to use, is he's supposed to drown. He crashed the ship. He's supposed to drown. That's his job. He's supposed to fucking drown.
We're seeing what happens when you have dishonest and rigged elections. This is what happens. This is what you get. Our nation.
Well, yeah, what we get is that you tried to cheat and you failed. Biden won anyways, in spite of the fact that you tried to rig the election from the White House.
What?
And even still, you couldn't fake enough votes to keep yourself in office. And
What?
you're still pissed about it. And even though you rigged the election in Florida, Texas,
What?
Ohio, and Kentucky with the ES&S machines, and they told you that 65 million votes
What?
would be enough to keep you in office, still you lost. And now you think, well, we know that
What?
dead people voted because we made it happen. We know that illegals voted because we paid them to do it. And
What?
sure, they all voted for Trump, but they can't connect the votes to the illegal vote. So if we make them look, we'll go, aha, look at all the illegal votes. Now they won't know that we paid for them to vote for Trump. They'll just know later that you guys get the point. Okay.
Is being destroyed from within by people who have no right to destroy it.
That's no way to talk about Mo Brooks. He's sitting right there.
Right, they have no right to destroy it. As everyone here understands, the 2000...
As everybody here understands, deer ticks are not fucking around. Make sure you use some spray. Oh, right, you can't bring any aerosol cans into the event outside.
That president
into the outside.
Election, which was such a great day, at 10 o'clock, it was over.
Then why'd you stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning? You gave an address at 2 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't over at 10 o'clock. Nobody expected it to be. As a matter of fact, a lot of Republican states weren't even going to start counting their early and mail-in votes because they knew they were largely Democratic until the next day to make it look like you'd won. And you didn't go to bed at 10 o'clock. Of all the little lies within the big lie, one of the biggest little lies is this bullshit about him going to bed at 10 o'clock and he'd won. For fuck's sake. Of course not. He was up. He gave remarks. He gave remarks at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Pennsylvania, Trump is winning by a lot.
As long as we don't count the Democratic votes.
Arizona, Trump is winning by a lot. We don't
when you went to bed, they lost.
Talk about Alabama. There was nothing they could do with this one. There was nothing.
Yeah, it's sort of like COVID cases. There's really nothing you can do about Alabama. It's just going to go the way it is.
And it'll go down. You're going to see things happening. It'll go down as the most corrupt election in American history, and almost probably in any history.
In any history, yeah. Look at the Iraqi elections, like all the Putin's, 99% voting rate, like way worse than that.
Evidence of the fraud is monumental, and more is coming out.
No, it isn't. It really isn't. I mean, he's telling a lot of the same stories. This is probably the tiredest lie.
Recently, Wisconsin election officials admitted they removed more than 200,000 voters. By the way, that's 10 times more than I need to win.
Those people didn't vote in the election. That's why they were removed. If you don't vote for 2 elections in a row, they remove you. If you voted in 2020, they wouldn't remove you. Seriously, this is one of the weirder ones. People know that, right? That if you don't vote in 2 elections in a row, the electoral board or whoever does it in your state, the Secretary of State's office or whomever's in charge of that, will just kick you off the rolls. You have to re-register. If you don't vote 2 elections in a row, you're out. Well, they didn't vote last year. These 200,000 people did not fucking vote. They didn't vote. They didn't vote for Biden. They didn't vote for Trump. They didn't vote for anybody. They either don't live there or they're dead or they just gave up or just don't give a shit or they're fucking preppers now. They didn't vote. They did not vote in 2020. That was the last straw. They didn't vote in 2018 either.
10 times more. 200,000
didn't vote.
From the voter rolls.
That didn't vote.
And they did it, unfortunately. Why didn't they move them before the election?
Because they still had a chance to vote. They'd only not voted in 1 election. If you broomed them, it would be illegal. If you kicked them off the voter rolls before they had missed 2 elections, that would be a purge of voters who were legally registered. It'd be a crime. That's why.
Moved them after the election. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. They removed these names after the election.
Because they didn't vote. Because their ballots were never returned. They didn't vote for anyone.
Was over.
They didn't vote for anyone. Honestly, I don't know what the fuck he thinks this is.
Approximately 20 times more than we needed.
Yeah, if you'd have just motivated those 200,000 people to vote when they didn't want to, strangely enough, I'm going to guess because they didn't vote, if they're not dead or moved away, that they weren't Democrats, because Democratic turnout was the highest it's ever been. So clearly these might have been folks that would have voted for Trump, but went, fuck him, this is terrible.
Earlier this month, it was revealed that in Georgia, ballots were rejected by machines and illegally altered by hand to remove marks for Trump and instead cast votes for Joe Biden. You'll see that coming out.
Yeah, I saw that nonsense. It's not actually true. It's just weird. It's not even close to true.
You see many of them.
Yeah, you'll see tons of that stuff. Mike Lindell was on earlier.
Some states, you had a little problem. More votes than voters. A little problem.
Yeah, that happens when you have a lot of military families in an area, because you'll have a lot of people who voted by mail from overseas, from, our bases abroad. One of those bases, one of those groups of people, anyways, was the military serving in Afghanistan. They are not going to have to vote from Afghanistan in the midterm next year. They'll be doing it from home or from wherever they are restationed if they choose to go someplace else. So all the votes that for people who don't technically live in an area because they are serving overseas valiantly and patriotically for our country, by the way, they're not going to vote from Afghanistan. You know why? Because Biden's getting us the fuck out.
Take a look at Detroit. Sir, they have many more votes than they have voters. Oh, that doesn't sound so good, does it, huh?
No, it doesn't. It's also nonsense.
And I needed just a little bit. Didn't need much of it.
Yeah, you paid for a bunch of fake votes. You paid for a bunch of people to vote for, as dead people or use people to go on the voter rolls. But damn it, if there just wasn't enough of them, all your fake votes couldn't compete with all of Biden's real votes, But now, you can claim that there was fraudulent votes because they voted, there were fraudulent votes. They voted for you. But, Who? I mean, does it really matter? They'll never be able to tell who the fraudulent votes were for. They'll just know by number they were there, and most of them voted for Trump. All of them, actually. There's one group of people, a demographic, a much sought after demographic that Trump won hands down, and that is the people who murder their wife and then vote on her behalf while pretending to look for her while she's dead, and who voted for Trump. I mean, that's 100%. He got all of those people.
For example, in Nevada, it was recently discovered that 15 out of the state's 17 counties had more votes than voters in 2020. Think of that, Nevada.
Because they, in this area, they serve on military bases in California. They live over there, but they vote from home. They don't vote in California as well. They vote in Nevada. And by the way, in those 15 counties, there's like 70 people.
Democrats. Yeah, I wonder how that happened. In Arizona,
Military service.
11,000 individuals are now listed as having voted who were not even on the rolls the day after the election. They weren't listed on the rolls.
You mean they voted provisionally because they showed up and they should have been on the rolls, but their vote had been cut off? So they voted provisionally and they didn't show up on the rolls because it hadn't been corrected the day after the election. It took a little while.
None of the margins in the state, remember this, the margin was less than 11,000.
Yeah, but all those people voted for you. So Biden won by 27,000, I think.
Substantially. So that was much more than we needed. That was just one of many categories. The Arizona ordered.
All those fraudulent votes were for you, so they should be taken from you, which would lower your number and raise Biden's margin. Or if they were stolen, indeed, and shifted to you from Biden, should be given to him.
What?
Just in case anybody thinks that I'm buying into Trump's bullshit and I get in trouble by the
have also collected a sworn affidavit stating that county election workers abolish signature matching entirely. Okay, well, that sounds reasonable. No signature. In other words, whose signature is it? We're not allowed to match. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's how it went.
Maricopa County has refused to comply with an official subpoena to provide images of the envelopes, which were.
Is this where we get into where are the routers?
This would prove whether they indeed counted ballots with no.
Well, no, the Board of Election has them. They're just not going to provide the home addresses of voters to strangers from outside the state so they can go door to door scaring the shit out of people.
Signatures at all. Many of the ballots weren't signed. They were just thrown in there. Finally,
the envelopes weren't signed because people took their mail-in vote because they didn't trust Louis DeJoy, and they went in and voted in person, and they just returned the envelope with it, but they didn't have to sign it because they were put into the system live right there. There's a lot of that.
Trend analysis of all 50 states based on population growth, voter history, and voter registration.
All relying on statistics done when there wasn't a pandemic and people didn't have to vote by mail.
By one of
and there was a strategy to deny voting machines to minorities all over the country.
Most respected people in that industry. Somebody so respected.
Who?
Military person, Captain Seth Keshel, found over 8 million excess Biden votes. In other words,
oh, you mean the people who were able to vote by mail and weren't denied a voting machine this time by Republican secretaries of state or county executives who normally send broken and busted machines or make people stand in line for 7 hours? Now that they were able to mail in their vote, they were able to vote with relative ease.
He had 8 million more votes than he's supposed to have.
And he still would have beat you. That's weird.
And his estimate is conservative. He considered it very conservative. And I believe he said he didn't even go to the machines. This is without even looking at the machines.
Yeah, but of course, his estimate would have fucked up Mike Lindell's entire premise. So you can't have both. Yeah. Otherwise, everybody would be unfilling and refilling each other's coffers. They'd be fighting their own election fraud on two fronts.
Remember, I'm not the one trying to undermine American democracy. I am the
Well, no, I mean, you're not president anymore.
one trying to save American democracy.
Well, one of the ways you did help was by leaving the White House. No, Mike Pillow was on earlier. Mike Pillow was one of the opening acts.
The numbers speak for themselves. We got 12 million more votes than in 2016.
Yeah, you paid for good money for them, and they still weren't enough. That's just sad. You hire people to come up with a bunch of fake votes for you. 12 million fake votes, and everybody tells you that'll be plenty. You'll kick his ass.
What?
You'll be able to do anything you want. You just pay us, and we will make as many fake votes as you want. And then we'll cover it. The ES&S machines are all locked up. Abbott and DeSantis have protected you by making sure that there's no Dominion machines in Florida or Texas. Ohio's covered. If you win Ohio and Florida, you're just complete. You got nothing to worry about. And then, of course, all the mail-in votes. You didn't have enough. Yeah, that was the most. That's sorry. We did cash the check already, though.
I was told by the best pollsters in the world.
And the people you paid to fraudulently create votes for you.
What? Real pollsters, not the phony pollsters that are used by certain of the fake news media. If I got 1 million more votes, I couldn't lose. I got 12 million more votes.
And you lost. And yeah, that's because they were all fake. That's
And we lost.
Yeah, you lost. You did. That's the most truthful thing you said all night.
Obama the second time got millions fewer votes than he did.
Yeah, but that's because they were denying people voting machines.
First time he won. But I was told by the most talented pollsters, and polling is talent. Polling works.
Polling is talent. This is good. Okay, these are notable quotables. Make a t-shirt out of that one.
Not when it's fraudulent polling. Get 1 million votes, sir. You cannot lose.
Is that what they told you? I would ask for my money back for all those fraudulent votes that you paid for in Ohio and Florida and Kentucky and Texas. Just saying. Right.
Easy early evening. We got 12 million votes, and they said we lost, or we didn't. We won 18 out of 19 bellwether counties.
Well, yeah, you paid for them directly. I mean, that's the whole point. You know, if you're going to commit fraud, you got to go to the mainstay places so you can make the case that it was real. So obviously, you're going to buy off those counties first, and then you'll worry about everything else later. Just for the record,
which is unprecedented. We flipped 15 House seats. Remember, a
lot of people voted down ticket for Republicans, but still hated you. That's weird.
Going to lose 25 to 35 House seats. Instead of losing 25 or 35, we won 15. It was a big evening. And you know,
it was a very big evening when you lost.
Why? Because they came in on our coattails. That's what happened. The congressmen will tell you that, and women, they will tell you that. And did not lose a single Republican incumbent in Congress. Think of that.
Yeah, they voted for all them and didn't vote for you. That's weird.
For the first time.
Let me get this straight. All these fake ballots, the only thing they changed was the vote for president. Okay.
We never think of that. This was in decades and decades. We didn't lose one seat. You know why? I hate to say it.
They liked the other Republicans, but they hated you?
Because of me. It's because of me.
Yes, you lost the presidency because of you. You also don't have the House or the Senate because of you.
And despite...
It is because of you. Yeah, we have the Senate because of you.
Pandemic. 56%, this was a record, of Americans. This is during the pandemic. Believed that they were better off in 2020 than they were in 2016 when I assumed office. Think of that. 56% is a record. And we had a pandemic going. A majority of Americans, 55%, want audits of the votes. They want audits.
Yes, basically to shut you up. Because when you do a full audit of it, everybody will go, oh, yeah, he really did lose. Oh, that's weird. We just found a bunch of fake votes, and they're all for Trump. I think we have to throw them out. Wow, he actually lost the popular vote by 15 million. That's weird. Oops. Mercy. The video is unavailable. It's terrible. What has happened? He's being censored by big tech. Big tech is it's the attack of big tech. Oh, my God. The video is unavailable. This is terrible. Hello? Something's awful happening. Please jump ahead. What's happening? Oh, here he is. Did they stop this? Is it? Yeah. Oh, removed by the uploader. What went wrong? What happened? RSBN pulled the plug on their own thing? Aw, come on. That's not right. That's not, oh, criminy. Now we got to, hold on. Now we got to jump over here. See, we got to go to like Rumble or some shit. What are they going to do? Have it on there? Mm-hmm. I think so. Looking it up. Don't worry. Hold on. Is that just a Add what's happening. Oh, that's just a cycle of whatever. Live President Trump. Okay. Sarasota, Florida. 2 hours and something. Oh, that's the one.
Powerful and wonderful law enforcement. They don't. They want to defund the police.
Well, no, apparently not. Because did you see Cory Booker?
And Joe Biden is perhaps the most unpatriotic president in American history.
Yeah, that's why he ends every statement with "God protect our troops."
And he canceled the 4th of July fireworks display at Mount Rushmore.
So that they wouldn't damage the area because of droughts and dry shit. Well, is this Florida? Oh, yeah, this is the Sarasota one. You're right. Where the hell is this? This is Coleman. There's that one. Text. See, if I push play here, it just runs on that thing. That's right. That's Sarasota. Sorry. Live. That's Wellington, Ohio. Is there? Let's see. I gotta. Where the hell gone? Trump. They just pulled the whole thing down. Live. That's 20 minutes. Turning point action. They just yanked the thing down. Did it start raining and they just fucked off? Is that what happened? No, we don't have to hate on the, by the way, we don't have to hate on the trolls, by the way, guys. They're like I said, they're the reason we expand into the greater reaches of YouTube and the like, and Facebook and Twitch, is because, you know, without them, we're just stuck in kind of like a circular area caused by, you know, confirmation bias or whatever. But because they get in here and they start typing, it actually expands us. The feed was dropped. The show ended 45 minutes ago. Son of a bitch. They have to post it, though, right? They gotta. Hold on. Now I got to go look for it again. Son of a dog doodle. Let's see. Let's do Trump, Coleman, Alabama. All right. We'll see if it comes up. Former President Trump, 2 hours ago, speaks in streamed 7 minutes ago. Here we go. This is Fox 10's version of things. Hold on. Let me jump ahead. There he is. We got it back. Okay. Here we go.
Thrown in there. Finally, a recent trend analysis of all 50 states based on population growth.
Oh, yeah, this is where we've already been through this part. Hold on 1 second. Let's jump ahead.
American democracy.
This is basically where we're.
That are used by certain of the fake news media. If I got 1 million more votes, I couldn't lose.
Oh, yeah, we've seen this shit too. Hold on, we'll speed through.
And despite the pandemic,
and the audio's off. That's fine.
6%. This was a record of Americans. This is doing.
Hi. Okay. No problem. Yeah, I know. Love you.
Pandemic. Believe that they were better off in 2020 than they were.
Oh, we've seen this part too. Hold on. Let's see. I'll move ahead to, let's see. Where are we? How much time is that? Okay, they were going about here. Well, yeah. We'll just jump ahead.
To stop building horrible, low-income housing that was going to destroy the suburbs. And they're saying that I didn't do well in the suburbs. I think I did great in the suburbs.
Apparently you didn't.
I think the
Bin Laden found alive in Venezuela.
in the suburbs voted for Donald Trump. That's what I think. I do think. We had a rigged election. They give Congress unchecked authority to raise your taxes. You will be getting the biggest tax increase in history if they're allowed to do what they are trying to do. Allow the government to try taxing American drivers by the mile. They want to tax you by the mile and grant a backdoor mass amnesty to illegal aliens. The radical Democrat Party and their media allies are completely and totally corrupt. The same people who want you to believe there was no election fraud.
There wasn't. Well, there was some. I mean, obviously, the dude who killed his wife and voted for you and made her vote for you even though she was dead, I would qualify that as fraud. I just wouldn't say it was systemic fraud.
Ones who said there was no spying on my campaign. Remember they spied on my campaign?
They didn't spy on your campaign.
I said
they spied on the Russians and you were talking to them.
Spying on my campaign.
Well, you were talking to people under the table.
And the world went crazy.
Yes, he is a lunatic. Particular. He's a lunatic. It's true.
I thought it was just an innocent statement because we know they're dishonest. The world went crazy when I said they're spying, and it turned out to be true.
No, it didn't.
Perpetrated the Russia hoax. They framed General Flynn.
Framed him.
They conducted the Mueller witch hunt.
He admitted to lying.
Never-ending Mueller witch hunt. They're continuing to do it with...
Which ended a few years ago.
Very dishonest, highly political prosecutors all over the place. They're using justice to go after Republicans, and we can't let...
Well, yeah, if you're committing a crime, then justice would be the thing that you would receive.
Because, again, we're not going to have a country left. And they pushed the impeachment hoax #1 and impeachment hoax #2, who ruthlessly smeared Brett Kavanaugh. Do you remember how they went after Brett Kavanaugh?
Yeah, Brett Kavanaugh. Sorry, how do you pronounce his name?
Ruthlessly smeared Brett Kavanaugh. Do you remember how
Kavanaugh.
He went after Brett Kavanaugh? He was
Brett Kavanaugh. Brett Caviar. That's his porn name.
With this one. He was with that one. He wasn't with any of them. And they knew that. But, you know, they're trying to scare our Supreme Court. And they're trying to scare people like Bill Barr and others.
Why? He's not in office anymore.
By going after him. They try and scare him.
Well, they could go after him because they deserve going after. There is that option as well. Occam's razor being a thing.
Because they say they're going to pack the court or they're going to impeach Bill Barr. And, you know, it
impeach, all right.
changes some people. It really does. It changes them. It scares them. They don't want
it does.
To happen. They talk about they want to impeach Kavanaugh. You know what they want to impeach him for? Nothing. He didn't do anything wrong. In fact, the opposite. They did.
He did everything. Yes. As the opposite. He should have sexually assaulted someone. The opposite is true.
Wrong. They were total dishonest people. One of the most horrendous hearings anyone's seen. They covered up the origins of the China virus, and they censored all information about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and all of the corruption in that family. Just recently, it was revealed that Google rewrote its whole program.
All of Google was rewritten. How did it work? What is this? This is going to be fun.
That in order to target Donald Trump.
They rewrote, all of Google has been changed just to target Donald Trump. They rewrote their whole program. They were tapping around and they were saying things like, we're in. Mm-hmm.
Targeted me. And yet we still got 75 million votes. How the hell did we do that?
Well, you bought them. I mean, obviously, you paid for probably an extra 12 million votes ultimately. I mean, that's the whole point, so that you committed the fraud in the election so that if you lost, you could claim fraud because you knew they could never tie the fraudulent votes to who they voted for, and you knew you were going to lose. So one of the ways that you can prove that, you can assert that you lost was to, intentionally buy votes and then all right.
Really, the number wasn't 75 million. I believe the number was many, many, many millions more.
Well, yeah, you bought many, many millions more because you're not going to get all of them. You know what I mean? They're like Twitter followers when you buy those. You bought a lot of Twitter followers and you buy about 20 million. You probably get about 11. I don't know. You'd have to ask Justin Timberlake, but
I have a rally like this that goes way the hell back. By the way, it's starting to rain. I will prove to you it's my hair.
You know it's your hair. It's just attached to the side of your head.
I will prove it. But everyone here knows that the radical left will stop at nothing to destroy the America we love. We're not going to let it happen. All of you in Alabama and with conservative patriots like Mo Brooks and others and all of the names I mentioned are fighting for us in Washington. And I have never been more confident that we will defeat the radical left. And we have to. We don't have a choice.
Well, yeah, I mean, you lost last time, so I guess, you know, if you lose again, it's clearly
He's a vicious
not going to work out well.
people, and they stick together. They don't have Mitt Romney and these guys that
Yeah, go after them.
go off on their own. They don't have people
Yeah, your rhinos, terrible.
that little Ben Sass, he's a nothing. They don't have people like this. They have people that stick together. I respect them for that, but I don't respect them for trying to destroy our country.
Well, thanks for making that.
With a Republican Congress, we will fight for more jobs for American families, fair trade for American workers, and we've done more on trade deals than any other administration in the history of our country.
Sure, you're the only person who's ever signed phase one of a 3-phase deal and not the other two. And in the first phase, they were supposed to buy $30 billion worth of agricultural goods, and they only bought 12. But hey, you signed something, and you showed it to people like a third-grade art project.
Including the China deal, which I don't even talk about anymore.
Yeah, you don't even bring it up.
Because of COVID, but the China deal has
Yeah, I don't even bring it up. It's not important.
made our farmers rich.
Yeah, totally. Our farmers are rich. Now, granted, I showed an article yesterday where it showed that this was actually taxpayer funds that were paying them, but whatever.
farmers and
The
manufacturers
ones that have survived COVID are still, doing well.
have never done better. And more American factories forging more products stamped with that very beautiful phrase, made in the USA.
Well, yeah, Obama changed the rules so you can't get around that anymore. I mean, Biden did, rather, beg your pardon. So that's kind of Obama put that in place, but then there was like all these little things you could do to get around it, and kind of there was excuses you could use to not have to actually follow through with it, and Biden just stopped that.
So in conclusion, our movement is up
In conclusion, it's raining, and I'm getting the fuck out of here.
against some of the most sinister forces and entrenched interests that anyone can even imagine.
Yes, the sinister Nancy Pelosi.
But no matter how big our way of life, no matter how big our country or how powerful they may seem, you must
No big, what? All right, wait, he got lost.
never forget this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you.
This land is our land. This land is my land. From the part that's my land to the other parts that are mine. This land is my land. This land is our land. This land doesn't belong to those people.
This is your
Kumbaya, fuck you, my lord. Kumbaya, fuck you.
Just so Christian.
This is your heritage and our magnificent
Heritage. There's people in that audience wearing Confederate flags.
American liberty is your God-given right. The citizens of the United States of America will not be dictated to and talked down to by incompetent politicians, corrupt tyrants, left-wing bullies, or socialist bureaucrats in Washington, D.C.
No, they'll be talked down that way in a field in Coleman, Alabama.
A place that I got to know very, very well. We are
Yeah,
descended
it was a short stay, but an informative one.
from the heroes and the patriots, the pioneers and the legends who tamed the great wilderness, who settled this vast continent,
Who manured this very pasture.
laid down the railroads, raised up the skyscrapers, and poured out their blood, sweat, and tears to build this country into the greatest nation in the history of the world, and we are not going to let it be taken away from us under any circumstances.
Well, you're still citizens. You didn't lose your citizenry just because your citizenship, just because you lost the election. Still, you're still part of the democracy. You can vote next time if you don't get felony conviction between now and then. And Florida rules are pretty draconian about that shit.
Our ancestors crushed fascism beneath the weight of American tanks, they toppled communism by the strength of American culture, and now we will defeat woke radicalism and a continuation.
Yes, this huge enemy that you have is just like fighting the Nazis, fighting like 19 professors and a bunch of assholes on Twitter.
Of communism, because that's what this is heading for. We will defeat it with the sheer power of American pride and American brain. Our leaders...
Brains, one would think. Plural. Well, I guess technically, if you've slammed everybody's functioning brain cells together, you'd have a single brain there.
May not believe in the destiny of America.
They don't believe in the destiny of America.
They might not. They may not.
They might not.
What? Holy shit.
May not believe in the destiny of America.
Destiny of America.
They might not. They may not believe in the destiny.
They might not. They may not, y'all.
Of America. I really don't believe in many ways they love our country, but we do, and we are not going to let anybody take that love away. We know that...
What? No one can take your love away. What? No one's trying.
There is no mountain we cannot climb.
Well, I mean, obviously, you'd be huffing and puffing on it. I mean, that ramp fucked you up, and there was just a light drizzle. I'm just saying, mountains can be treacherous. I would bring some bear spray.
There is no summit we cannot reach.
Well, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't do any rappelling if I was you either, unless you get a really high tensile strength rope. I would go with, like, industrial steel cable, the kind they use for, electrical riggings.
There is no challenge
I'm just saying, if I was you, I wouldn't bungee jump in a shallow ravine. Would be a mistake.
Cannot meet.
What? Hold on. Say what?
Reach. And there is no challenge we cannot meet.
Okay, good. Yeah.
We are Americans, and the future belongs to us. We are going to have a great future. We are going to turn this mess around. This is a horrible thing that's happening to our country. We're laughed at all over the world. We're not going to be laughed at anymore.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to predict that I'm going to be laughing at you a lot more. I'm just going to go out on a limb. I think you have a lot more laughs to give, sir. Look, somebody really called you sir.
Horrible thing.
Sir, I think you're going to make a lot of people laugh.
And it's going to go on.
Not on purpose. And it's an at you kind of a thing.
A while, but we've got to end it. We cannot let this happen. They're destroying our country. We will not bend. We will not break. We will not yield.
You might have a couple of dents, though, probably, or whatever. You might scuff yourself. Just be careful going down the ramp.
We'll never
It's been raining.
give in. We will never give up. We will never back down. We will never, ever surrender.
You will, however, lose an election and leave the White House. That's proven true. And the dude yesterday crawled out of his truck to the cops. I'm just saying, there's a lot of surrender still left in you.
My fellow Americans, our movement is far from over. In fact, you'd call it almost a floater at this point. Fight has only just begun.
We've only just begun.
In the history of our country,
I don't know. This looks like something that's winding down to me.
There has never been a movement like this.
Well, sure there has, but not in English. German, I think, mostly.
Been anything like it. People run for the Senate. They do okay. They lose. They win a couple of votes, and they're national heroes for 50 years. They're on television talking. People run for president, and they come in second, third, or fourth in one primary, and they're national heroes all of a sudden.
They are. Oh, you mean Rick Santorum? Sure. Just don't Google Santorum, people. It's a mistake.
We ran for president, and we won 32 states, and then we did better the second time, much better the second time.
I agree. It was much better the second time when you lost.
Much, much better.
Much better when you lost, yes.
Somebody from the fake news media said, sir, what was the difference between 2016 and 2020?
That people didn't know how awful you'd be in in 2016, and in 2020 they were like, oh yeah, he's a fuck up. This is terrible.
I said, well, the difference was that
Everybody thought you were a real billionaire in 2016.
2020, we did much, much better. The rallies were bigger. The enthusiasm was more because
people wanted to show their fidelity to you by catching COVID.
2016, I told you what we were going to do, but it was talk. In 2020, you knew.
We proved that it was talk.
I did it. So
sorry. When did we get out of Afghanistan last year?
A much better.
Sorry. When did Mexico pay for the wall?
We were cheated.
Sorry. The tax cut for the middle class is going to be along. Where's the healthcare plan? That's just 2 weeks away, right?
And
we will protect pre-existing conditions.
It was rigged. We were cheated. But there's never been.
Well, I mean, what can you expect? I mean, you're the greatest president in the history of the country. You know more about ISIS and Al Qaeda than the generals. What? You know more about the economy than the smart economy people. And clearly, you were bested by the Democrats, who apparently can't find their ass with both hands, and a presidential candidate who can't end a sentence. What? It's weird. Isn't that funny? How you're the greatest ever, but those people kicked your ass?
Movement like this, and you know it's funny, I say it a lot.
Yes, you do. A lot.
With the fake news, look at all of them back there.
They're not. That's not the fake news. That's Right Side Broadcasting and Fox and people who like you.
News is back there.
No, they're not. CNN's not there. Nobody else gives a fuck.
They never, ever question it. If I say something that's close to wrong, it's headline news. But I say...
No, almost nothing you do is headline news anymore.
This is the greatest rally in the history of our country. This is the greatest movement in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it.
Well, I mean, I would argue that when Americans were taking their scrap metal to help the war effort in World War II, that would qualify. I mean, that was a patriotic act. I think we can all agree on that, correct?
And it's probably the greatest movement in the history of our world. It's probably this movement, call it...
Jesus who?
Make America great again, call it America first, call it what you will. I believe it's the greatest movement probably in the history of the world. And it's just starting.
Yeah, Christianity, Catholicism... just democracy.
It's just starting.
Yeah, it's just beginning.
We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. So with love of our nation swelling in our hearts, and it does swell.
It does. It's swell. It's just so swell.
Our hearts. That's why you're standing here in the rain listening to this person. You're saying, darling, it's raining. Let's go home. But nobody is leaving all the way back. Hundreds and like football fields behind. Football fields.
Yeah, actually, a bunch of people were leaving.
Darling.
They're worried about being struck by lightning to hear hearing something that they've heard a dozen times before.
It's raining.
Darling, it's raining, and you know how electrical current loves to find you. Remember when you tried to fix the toaster with a butter knife?
Not going home because we love our country, but it's swelling in our hearts. The spirit of America is stirring our souls.
Swelling and stirring, and it's overflowing. I would just not shake it if you're going to drink it later.
Say these words.
Tap the top, I think, a few times. That's supposedly.
To you, and you've heard these words before.
Oh boy, have we.
In some cases, many times before.
Many times. Many times. Same shit. But thank you for acknowledging.
We will make America powerful again.
Excuse me, I have to, going to need to. Thank you.
We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America...
Hold on. We will make America... Sorry.
5 eggs.
Again.
Despite what you're seeing today, so sad and so pathetic, we will make America proud again. We will make America safe again.
Wow.
What?
And you know what it is. We will make America great again. Thank you, Alabama. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
He's not doing YMCA because he's in Alabama. I think his dancing is going to be different. Like this. Doom doom dingo a doom doom dingo a doom doom down bodla dee go doga doom doom dingo a doom doom. Oh my God, this is so great, and he ended just in time for us to not get rained on. Okay, bye. He got the hat though. He did save himself a hat, so in case he needs one. Bye. Thank you. Clap clap clap. Squirt, squirt, right in my eye. There you go. Clap, 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 clap. Squirt, squirt. Thank you. Right on my chin. Squirt, squirt, right in my ear. Thank you. Hand job for you. Oh, oh. Okay, don't use the bench. Do it. Clap, clap. Fist bump, point, thumb up your ass. Clap, clap. Somebody want a hand job right in my hair? Anybody? Anybody right there? You got me. That's for you. Okay, anybody over here want a hand job? You want a hand job? Anybody hand jobs? Hand job for that whole section right there. Here comes. Ready for your hand job? Here it comes. Hand job. We'll do 2. Clap, 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 clap. Psych. No hand job for you. Psych, psych. Squirt, squirt. You guys get one right in the eyeball, though. A good old red eye. It's clap, clap. Hey, you guys over there. Hey, waving, clap. Thank you very much. Oh, and it's gone. Oh, and the night version of my software just came on because it turned to clap, 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 squat, right on my tie. There you go. Squirt, 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 right on the chin. Get me right on the chin. There you go. Clap, 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 clap. Dark. Squirt, 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 right in my hair. There you go. Keep that part nice. There's something about Donald. Okay, bye, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Your hands are wet. Why is that? Squirt, squirt, squirt. Thank you. Right on top of the head. There you go. Right on my real fiberglass hair. There you go. Squirt, squirt, squirt. Thank you. Goodbye. Thanks. Like you guys. Okay, I'm going back in the tent now. Where's my golf cart? It's not quite Marine One, but see you later, everybody. Claps. Bye. Okay, wave. See you later. Bye-bye. This is my exit plan for Cullman, Alabama. It's exactly what I would have done in Afghanistan. I'm going to go hump a flag and leave the military behind. That's what a squirt. Thank you. One last squirt for you. Okay, just finish that out. There we go. 3 steps. It's a lot. Okay, bye-bye. Wow. That's it. Okay, now I got to go because I got to go clean myself up because Summer and I are going to an event tonight together. So I'm going to booger off, as they say. Hold on. Let me stop on that thing. Hold on. And I will see you guys Monday. I will be working on my little show, like now that everything seems to be like the capability is there. Now I have to tweak the settings and stuff. So today, like I did a little bit today, but tomorrow's my day off. So I can do, like I always like to say, I love having a day off from work so I can get some work done. So yes, everybody, don't forget that we always have to squirt 5 eggs into Trump's hair at the end of a show. And we will see you guys on Monday. Have a great, great Sunday. And in the immortal words of Joe Biden, God bless America and God protect our troops. At least someone has to say it. Bangino. Okay, bye.